What's up, everybody? Welcome to the GameOverGreggy show. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside the producer/seducer, Nick Scarpino.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
I'm well. Tired.
Good. Yeah?
Yeah.
This is the most we've talked.
In a while?
Yeah.
No.
I haven't seen you in a long time.
2 days.
It feels longer.
It has.
We didn't talk
feels like
Kind of Funny live
We
either.
did.
You were
We
just-
chatted a lot.
No, we didn't. We were running around doing things.
That's true. That was a rigmarole. That was a good
It
rigmarole.
was a huge rigmarole.
It was great though.
Over there, the pure one, Tim Gettys.
Hi.
And rounding out the core cast of the GameOverGreggy show, the original four. The pride of Long Island, Colin Moriarty.
Good to be here with you, Greg.
Good to be here with you, sir. How are you?
I'm well.
How's everybody rested up? Kind of Funny Live was last weekend.
I hibernated the last 2 days.
Yeah?
And it was just like, I didn't know a human being could do that the way I did, but I did.
You wrap yourself up in a little blanket
Still,
burrito and
my
watch some
God.
TV?
No.
Watch some YouTube?
Just slept.
Play some Vita?
Just didn't. No, I didn't.
son of a bitch.
Yeah, I still have it. I'm waiting to load it up with some goodies from MomoCon.
Ah!
Yeah, I'm going to play a little Shovel Knight on the way
Ooh.
to Atlanta.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's going to
If
be
you want to
great.
get Freedom Wars, we can play Freedom Wars ad hoc on the plane. Just letting you know that's an option.
Gotta be
for you.
careful. It might mess with the plane's telemetry.
Electronic.
By the way,
telemetry,
did you read the story from the FBI this past weekend about planes?
No, lay it on.
There's a guy, a hacker, like a computer science guy in the United States,
Is he the guy
that
from
has
House
been
of Cards?
using the entertainment systems on different planes to hack into the telemetry and the piloting software from the cockpit. And figured out a way to do this and did it apparently 8 times, including once where he deleted code and the plane like jerked.
Why
And,
would he
like,
do this?
Just because
show
he
he
could,
could?
or like to show he could or whatever. And then it was like all so people. He actually gave kind of like talks and stuff about how this was hypothetically possible. But then the FBI was like, "No, you really did it. We know you did it." You know? And
Yeah.
there's like all this stuff
Was it-
going on.
but
Like,
was it-
Shit, that's
But was it one of
crazy.
those like we know you did it, and then they just waited to see if he'd confirm that, and then he's like, "Oh, damn it, you got me!" Like, "Ha, we didn't know until you said that just now."
They don't really tell you that.
I don't know.
Cops can lie to you anyway.
That comes out like
That's
60
totally
years
legal.
later.
Is that later in the
movie.
thing?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that.
just reminded me that's like I was frightening stories. Yeah,
Yeah,
it
terrible.
was pretty big news.
So yeah, that's the thing. Whenever when the Virgin America plane reboots, you get the little Linux penguin. And you're
He's
like,
chilling, he's
this is
doing
why
stuff.
PlayStation 3 removed this because that penguin, he's a slut. He'll let anybody in.
God,
My
he is
God.
a whore. He's a
Yeah,
hooker.
apparently there's like these like computer hubs underneath most seats that are like the central. to
Yeah, they
the-
have.
and-
You never seen him? Like you always get. Have you ever not been on the plane where you're like your friend and the person next to him have fine leg room, but then you get the media box in front of you, so you can't put like one leg forward
No.
because it's this giant hub. On international flights, there's like always one seat that sucks every like 20 rows because it is the entertainment like breakout
yeah.
box, like the router for all this stuff. Like it's just a big ass hard drive that plays like all the ones from the plane, like that row behind. Yeah, you get that every once in a while, but like. How is that even possible?
He
Why wouldn't
used
those systems be standalone?
On their own, yeah. Why don't we have all the
The
entertainment
story's
shit on its
crazy.
own?
Like he apparently used like USB cables that he like altered to like be able to plug into these boxes, and then like overrode shit to get directly into like the.
How's
the
nobody
See,
noticing?
It's assholes like that. Now, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm fine if this guy had altruistic intentions of like saying, "Hey, this is a security thing. You guys should really listen to me." Okay, I'm going to prove it. But now we're going to have to take our pants off. Somehow, this is going to equate to us having to
I've been
take our
waiting for
fucking
it all
pants
day
off
long.
when we go through security. Like, we're going to have to go through naked at a certain point because people are like, "We got to make sure you're not hooping any modified USB cords up your ass." You know,
Pooping them out.
you hooping. Oh, plug.
Is that what hooping
digital.
means?
Hooping, yeah. I think I'm using that.
It's like
term
a
correctly.
hard poop.
No, I don't think that's exactly what
I heard it on a prison documentary once where they were talking about hooping, where he's like, "You got to hoop that." Oh no, my friend that went to jail talked about hooping. He said I had to hoop stuff up my butt.
He did not have to hoop stuff up. How
He
long
did.
was he in
went.
prison
He
for?
was in like a state prison for like. It was one of those like.
How'd you meet this guy?
He was a friend of a friend.
Do you hang out with him still?
No,
Can we have him on the
I hung
show?
out with him one time, and he's one of those guys that was like, "Look, it wasn't my fault, but I got put in jail for kidnapping." And you're like, "How is that not your
What?
fault?"
For kidnapping.
It was some stupid thing where oh no, it wasn't kidnapping. What it was
Murder.
he said it was all a misunderstanding. Of course, everyone that goes to jail, it's always a
Never
misunderstanding.
their fault.
Right?
They're
It's
always
never their
innocent.
fault.
We
It's
saw
always
Shawshank.
someone else's fault. Well, in that regard, he actually was innocent. He did not kill his wife in Shawshank.
Remember, that's what they said. Is that spoilers? Number one.
Right.
But they also were like everybody. Didn't you know everybody's innocent?
Right. That's true. So my friend at the time, he was
And
a
then
friend
he
of
goes,
a friend.
and the waters.
And the water
receded.
So he said something to the degree of, and I didn't catch the whole story because right about halfway through, I was like, "This is a person I need to stop and like never hang out with again." And I told my friends, I was like, "Don't bring that guy around. He's bad news. He's just gonna get everyone in trouble." Like, "No, he's a good guy." I'm like, he just told me a story about coming back from a concert. He picked up a hitchhiker and then got pulled over, and the hitchhiker had like guns on him. And he was like, "Well, I got sent to jail for a month because I was like apparently transporting guns over
He
state
went
lines
for
or some
a
shit."
month and still had to put stuff up his butt.
Yeah, because when he went to he said it wasn't prison, it was jail. So it was like a not a hardcore state-run penitentiary, but he said the way it works when you go to the when he went to this particular institute was that the prisoners, for the most part, run it. Like there are big wide open rooms. It's not like you're in cells. You're in basically a giant room. Similar, I guess, to Orange is the New Black, if you've seen that show, where it's like it's a big room where people are there, and he goes, and you have like different areas where they take a prisoner and say, okay, you're in charge of this room. Make sure it's like if there's any problems, you tell us. Which sounds like the worst possible thing you could possibly do. And he said, of course, the first day he got jumped and he had to like try to fight or whatever. And he's like, eventually, what I had to do to survive, not survive, but like not get the shit kicked out of him every day, was he had to like take things from point A to point B. And the way he would do that was grease him up. And put him where only mom's seen, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, where the sun don't shine.
Yeah, where the sun don't shine.
Don't just wink at me. It's creepy when no one else sees you. That makes it even worse.
Yeah, he talked about hooping stuff, and I was like, "What the hell is hooping?" He's like, "Hooping is when you put up your butthole and you go from one place to another place."
Butthole's such a weird word, man. Especially when it's a grown man speaking to another grown man.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
About Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah, great.
I think we just pushed Nick's final topic out the window, and this is the topic now: putting things up your butt in prison.
That's fine.
Go ahead.
Shawshank Redemption.
Yeah.
Shawshank Redemption came out in '94, and it's about something that happened in like the late '40s.
Mm-hmm.
You were talking about spoilers for Shawshank Redemption. Now, is it possible that there's a different spoiler rule for Shawshank Redemption because it already had happened earlier, even if it's fiction, and then it came out in 1994? In other words, are the spoiler rules fake for a movie, or are different for a movie like Catch Me If You Can? Because that story had already happened.
It's a true story.
Mm-hmm. It was already established that happened.
Sure.
And then the movie came out.
It's like Titanic.
Yeah, like, is it possible to spoil a movie like Titanic?
There's elements to Titanic.
Yeah.
I spoiled for Poe's mom that Leonardo DiCaprio died. Thought it was pretty obvious because, they didn't show him as an old man in the trailer. I think we wouldn't know. We already saw it.
Yeah, but he could have at the end. He could have just showed up.
Like when she's on the railing, she like lets go of the thing and he catches. He's like, "What are you out of your fucking mind? That thing's worth billions." His back, you rich bitch.
Dang.
I was like,
and then he just recedes back into the mist.
I think, as far as Catch Me You Can and Shawshank are on the same level of, like what I just said, like the fact that he was innocent. You figure that out in the first 5 minutes of the movie. It doesn't.
That's
matter.
what the movie's
That's
about.
not what it's about. Like it's about him.
You don't know.
Surviving.
They show him loading the gun. You're not 100% sure if he didn't do anything.
I think about
his story's flimsy at best.
It's true. Maybe he did kill her. Maybe he didn't.
He didn't. That other guy did, who laughs and kind of looks like a mean
right.
joke.
And then they throw him off a roof or something like that, or they like kill him. Remember, he's like, I got. Oh no, they snipe him. They shoot him in the back or whatever.
That's the guy who
that's
knew
a
about it.
That was the guy who was going to testify.
God, fantastic.
I just saw that movie not too long ago again.
Such a good
first time.
It's a really good movie.
That's when I fell in love with Clancy Brown because he scared me.
Which was Clancy Brown?
Clancy Brown's the guard who beats the shit out of everybody.
The guy from Highlander.
Voice of Lex Luthor. I guess he's in Highlander. He's now in the Flash.
He's the Kragan in Highlander.
Well, he's also in the Flash and the voice of Lex Luthor.
Here we are.
Born to be kings. Something about the universe.
Did you hear that song play at Kind of Funny Live, by the way?
Real quick, is that from Highlander?
Yeah.
I never knew.
It's just the way the story goes is apparently when they were making the movie Highlander, they showed it to Queen. Like Queen was in town. He was like, "Hey, you guys should come by. I got this awesome movie that I want you guys to do a song for." And they all watched it. And each and every member of Queen was like, "That's amazing. We want to do the whole soundtrack." And so they ended up doing like 4 or 5 songs for it. One of which was that they made that song for that movie. Apparently,
what's it called? Princes of the Universe.
I don't know what that song's called.
I think it's called Princes of the Universe.
Good enough for me.
I don't know. But they did that. They did Who Wants to Live Forever as well for that. So, Who Wants to Live Forever? It's amazing.
Wow, that was pretty good.
So yeah,
we might really get a copyright strike.
That was back in the day when you just like there was still magic left in the world, not all this homogenized bullshit that we have now. Superheroes. That was back when Freddie Mercury could watch a movie and be like, "I'm gonna make the entire soundtrack for this because I'm Freddie Mercury."
That happened recently with somebody popular. Some movie.
They do it all the time. Jay-Z did it with American Gangster.
Okay.
Jay-Z and Freddie Mercury are pretty similar.
Pretty similar, yeah.
Exactly. Cut from the same cloth.
You should read, just as a quick aside. I've talked about this I think in the past, but there's a great story on the internet somewhere on some site about how they made Bohemian Rhapsody. Specifically because they didn't have the tools necessary to make it. Like Bohemian Rhapsody wouldn't be a difficult song to. It would be a difficult song to write and perform.
Yeah.
But it wouldn't be a difficult song to put together, especially like after the bridge.
Sure.
When it all goes crazy or whatever. And like how they were recording layer after layer after. So it's like, what is it, Ma? You know, like that part or whatever. Like they were just recording over and over and over again and like modulating the tape basically and like doing all these like crazy recording tricks to like use the very cruel tools of the time to make a song sound that fucking good. And that song sounds like it was recorded today.
That's crazy.
You should go fucking read about it.
I never
That's what I'd say.
thought about that. You don't actually think about that now because the tools, even with film, where you watch like an indie movie or whatever that has effects, and you're like, oh, that's so easy
Yeah,
to
it's
do
easy.
nowadays.
Anyone can fucking do
But
that.
then you go back and watch Poltergeist, and you're like, how the shit
Yeah.
did they suck the house into that little hole? Like, and then you hear about how they had to do it. And they're like, no, we had to rig a whole house up and cut it in parts, specific parts, wire it with cabling all the way down a hole to a Mack truck that when we called go started going. And we had one shot at this. It took like a
Really?
month
I
and a
didn't know they
half to
did
set it
this.
up. They rolled like 4 cameras on it just to make sure they got an angle on it.
Yeah.
And the guy, I think it was I forget who the
Craig
DP
T.
was.
Nelson.
No, well he was in it, yes,
Yeah.
but
He's coming back.
they had like
Coach!
is coming back.
I know, I can't believe
so
it.
are the Muppets, by the way. Which is
I know.
awesome.
Less excited.
Yeah, so I
Thanks,
guess they
Jason
had like
Segel.
one shot at it and they got it, and it
That's fucking
actually
great.
ended up working. They had like structural
Well,
engineers.
so it was
and
a
stuff
big
working.
house. It was a real house. They
It
were
was like
building
a
full
scale.
size?
Like I think it was an actual full like
Wow.
model house. Yeah, but I don't know. It's crazy. But nowadays they would just plug that in the Cinema 4D and be like hit the make magic button and it just goes.
Hit the Poltergeist
Yeah.
button.
Yeah, hit the Poltergeist button. Is anyone planning on seeing the new Poltergeist movie?
No.
No.
I love Poltergeist, but I have no intention of seeing the new one, especially because it looks like a shot-for-shot remake.
It
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't look exciting.
Are you guys planning on watching Pitch Perfect too?
No.
I'm sure I will.
Probably going to. I'm going up to Tahoe this weekend as of this recording, which will be last weekend once this hits. But for Memorial Day to visit my sister-in-law and brother-in-law. Now, here's what they said. I was assuming we'd see Pitch Perfect 2. So last weekend I called up Sean Finnegan and I went and saw Fury Road.
Oh, you saw it.
And then my sister-in-law texted me back and she said, "No, don't see Fury Road. I want to see that because she's a huge Charlize Theron
You're
fan."
like, too bad.
And I was like, "Well, I just saw it." Then I watched it, and
Wait, what?
I watched Fury Road. I've seen it. It's amazing.
But in the timeline you just laid out, you lied to your sister-in-law?
No. She said, "Don't go see it." And I said, "I've already saw it. I just watched it. So I'll see it again with you." Is what I told her.
Kevin's on the same page as me.
That
Okay.
I said misspoke.
You're like,
Sorry.
well, I just watched it. And then you go, and then I watched it.
No, my
sister-in-law's
what
like,
had
"Ah,
happened?
fucked me.
What happened was I texted my wife and I was like, "Ask Logan if she wants to see it." It was my sister-in-law's name.
Like X-Men.
Like X-Men, and she didn't get back to her until I got the text after I saw the movie.
Sure,
She's
sure,
like,
sure,
"Oh,
sure,
look," she said, "Wait on seeing it." I'm like, "Well, I already saw it, but I'll see it again." It's one of those films that have you guys seen Road Warrior? Are you familiar with Mad Max at all?
I mean,
Yes,
I know that.
I am.
Do you remember watching Road Warrior for the first time when you were a kid and going, "This is so unbelievably fucked up that I probably shouldn't be watching this"?
Yeah, I still remember watching Mad Max and being like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
But like in a good way. Like I still have never seen anything like it. Like it's so unique.
So Fury Road is that
Aesthetically.
again. Somehow they managed to recapture that. And I'm 35, right? So I've seen more movies like that since where I'm like, okay, this is for sheer shock value. This movie is unique in that there is nothing else like it. It is literally I hate to use the word tour de force, but it is like a just spectacle the entire time of fucking violence and twisted chaos. And it does not stop until the very end. And you're like, okay. And you get up and you're like, that movie was... It's one of those movies where you walk out and you're like, that took a piece of me with it. It didn't give me something. It took a piece of me with it. You know what I mean? And like, it's that standard George Miller, like, shock value. And I don't mean shock value in like where you see Saw and you're like, oh, that's gross out. I mean like the visuals, the things that they think of to show you. You're just like, how does a human being think of that? How does a human being, like, the world is so unbelievably well realized and so screwed up at the same time that you're like, it's shocking. It literally is shocking. And it's just like it was when in the 80s when I saw Road Warrior for the first time with the guy with the hockey mask and like the kid that was like throwing the boomerang. You're like, what the hell is going on in this movie?
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, that's
It's
what I
awesome.
say. Like, I feel like it's lost on so many people how much Borderlands is inspired by Mad Max, and I think that's like really lost on a lot of people.
It is.
and I think that I think it's easy to notice that immediately, but for some people it's not noticeable. And I'm hoping now that this movie has come back with its aesthetic, people are like, oh,
Yeah.
like this looks like Borderlands because Borderlands looks like Mad Max.
Yep.
You know,
is.
yeah, Mad Max is just special and fucking weird. What I didn't realize about Fury Road, I will see Fury Road. Probably wait till it comes out, but because I really do like Mad
You
Max.
should see it in the theaters.
Is-
We'll talk after.
Okay.
You said that
Is-
about Interstellar, and we still haven't seen Interstellar, and we both wanted to see that movie. So
But what I didn't realize
Give
about
up.
what I didn't realize about Fury Road is that he had been trying forever to get it made. Like I had no idea that this movie was like 20 some odd years pretty much in the
Yeah.
making, even with the same name.
Yeah.
Like I had no idea that
They
like,
went into production on it, and then I think it was either 9/11 or something happened. There was something happened in the Middle East because they were supposed to film, I think, in Egypt or something like that, and they got shut down again. And so he's been trying to make this ever since, probably for the last 15 years, 20 years, yeah, something like that.
Charlize Theron's been signed on the entire time.
and I don't know where it's settled on Rotten Tomatoes, but after like 100 or so reviews went up, it had a 98 on Rotten Tomatoes, which I was like, holy shit! Like
It's one
that's
of the,
incredible.
If you go in expecting this film, I'm telling everyone out there, to be a standard Hollywood film, if you're going in thinking it's going to be like, okay, classic Coke Hollywood 3-act structure where you get a nice, beautiful resolution and all this stuff, and like great, it's not going to be that. This is not what That's not what he makes. Okay, the movie is just about that world and survival, and it is fucking awesome. Go in with expectations that it's not going to be a normal film.
Can you watch it without having seen the other ones?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
it doesn't rely at all on the other three. It helps because there's homages to it. Like there's a scene where he has a boomerang knife. Like it's one of those kind of like, I don't know. It's not necessarily a sickle or a scythe. It's more of like just it looks very much like the boomerang the kid had. There are little homages, little touches, or like his armor is the same as it was before. He has they don't really call attention to it, but he does have a knee brace, and you don't know why. But
How's that an homage?
What's that?
Well, how's it? What,
It's
as a reference
not
to
an
somebody
homage.
on-
Excuse me. It's a direct reference to the first one. In
hurt his
Mad
knee?
Max, he got part when his family died. When his wife and his kid were run over by a gang of bikers. One of them shot him in the knee. And so for the next 3 movies, he has a limp. And you don't really know why unless you saw the first movie. But literally, it's like he limps as he runs the whole time. Not so much in this, but he does have a knee brace on in this one. He has the car from the original one. So you're getting a little bit of... I don't know if it was supposed to be a reimagining or if it was just a direct sequel to it. It doesn't really matter because it's just this world is so screwed up. They set it up very easily in like the first 15 minutes. You're like, I got it.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it. I definitely want to see it. And like last night, I saw Pitch Perfect 2.
Love it.
How was that?
Love it.
Pitch Perfect 2 was good. It was really good. I mean, it's a sequel. It's totally a sequel to a movie that didn't need a sequel, but it's like, okay, it's more. It's just more Pitch Perfect, which is great. But man, if you put those 2 movies directly next to each other, I'm pretty sure if you hit play on both of them, it'd be like, oh, here's this beat, here's this beat, here's this beat. Like, it's literally, oh, here's the girls, here's a party scene. Oh, now they do the little riff off.
The Bellas have no chance in this competition, but they're doing it.
Yeah,
they're turning it around.
They're playing at LAX. I can't remember.
was,
Yeah,
with a
it
dream
was
of
just
a
like that.
cardigan.
The music that they chose, some of it was really awesome, and some of it was like, There was a bunch of YouTubers in it, which was really cool.
Freddie?
Justine? No, they weren't in it.
I don't
But
care about
Pentatonics, who are an acapella group, they're fucking awesome.
Evan
They were in it.
Mealtime?
And Flula, the like German dude that like does a lot of weird noises and shit. He was in it. He was fucking hilarious. It was a funny movie. I think you guys would enjoy it for sure. But it's definitely, you don't need to see it in theaters.
No,
But Anna Kendrick.
won't. She's hot.
My God.
She's so hot.
All
She's
the-
so
I mean,
funny
the
and
whole
talented.
cast is really funny. They're all really good, and they all have their unique things. The Asian girl that like
Yeah,
just
it's really quiet.
whispers.
just oh my God, the
Okay,
things she
okay,
says in this
that's
movie are like fucked up.
Yeah,
And it's
that's great.
hilarious.
Yeah, I love the first one. I'll see this one.
Yeah.
What I find fascinating about it is how much Elizabeth Banks has like to do with it.
Well, she directed it.
Directed it. Yeah.
She directed it. Yeah,
know
she
that.
directed
I
it.
think she directed the first. No, her husband
No.
directed the first one, I think, but she produced it.
Yeah, she directed. So she's director on this one, and she is in the movie a lot more than she was in the
She's
first
funny.
one. Her and the other dude, the characters,
Yeah.
they are so racist. Like everything they say is just like wow. Oh, and then there's this one character that's this Latin girl, and it's just like I don't know how this movie was made because it's like just straight up offensive. Like there's like it's to the point where it's like this isn't even funny.
Well, guys,
Like-
correct me if I'm wrong, but if you're white, you're allowed to make fun of all other races.
Right,
correct?
that's how it works. Yeah,
That's how it
Privilege.
works. Yeah, it's fine.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well then, yeah, it was a great movie.
Comedies though, come on, they're allowed to make fun of stuff.
I will say go see Fury Road and go see it on the big screen.
I really
Go see
want
it on the biggest, loudest screen you could possibly find.
cool.
Is Skylar Astin in that movie?
Skylar Astin.
Is he in that movie?
No.
He is.
I'm gonna
in
go
this-
see
he
that.
is,
Nicholas
yeah.
Holt's in
I'm
this
gonna go
movie,
see-
though.
is
And
that
He-
I didn't
Skylar?
realize
okay.
he
I'm
was
gonna
in
go
this
see that
movie.
Key and Peele. Which
Yeah.
one's the skinny one?
Jordan Peele, I think, is the skinny one.
Okay,
isn't
well
he?
then Peele is in this movie and he's awesome.
How do they not have Key?
I don't,
That's
he's
like-
like the record producer guy. Like he
It
runs
seems
this
He's,
like
he's having a better career than the other guy. The tall, skinny
Oh.
guy's in a lot more shit.
No, whenever I see them, they're together. And they're
No,
hilarious.
I've seen Peele in a lot of stuff lately. He just gets little bit parts. They're both hilarious. They're both ridiculously talented.
Yeah.
Way more than any of us sitting in this room. By
Oh,
far. Like
100%.
if they were
Well,
like, "Hey, come
Don't
join my
forget
team,"
Kevin's
I
sitting in
would.
this room.
Oh, hi, Kevin. Kevin, can you do me a favor? Just come on camera real quick and show your face for everyone that hasn't seen it yet.
There it
There
is.
he
That's
is.
Kevin,
Look
everybody.
at him. We showed him at the live show. What?
Yeah, that was good. No, you looked good.
Yeah,
It was
it's
kind of
great.
dark, so you look intimidating. But
I still I don't watch Key and Peele very often. There's a few funny scenes though that I remember from that show.
Yeah.
And my favorite one is still the one that makes fun of LMFAO. You ever see that
No,
one where
no.
where it's like they're recording a video for like a fake LMFAO song like Party All Night or whatever the hell it's called. But it's just them recording it over and over and going into the club. And everyone's like, they like can't leave. Like everyone's drinking and like slowly and surely like they're going insane and they don't want to be there anymore. And everyone's like partying and doing shots around them and stuff like that. So it's such a good skit. I was like, this is perfect.
I still hold the one that bangs out in my mind every time is bangs out is the where they make fun of the
Substitute
names.
Teacher.
No, that one's hilarious too. But the first time I remember seeing those guys was like 5-6 years ago when they made fun of the college football. The names, like people is like, my name's Shaquille number 31 Penn State, like from whatever, and it goes. It's so racist. It's so unbelievably racist. But since it's them, I guess it's okay. Yeah, that's how that works. But
comedy again.
Nothing's
off
limits
shield of comedy.
Nothing's off limits in comedy.
That's why we can say whatever we want on this show.
Unless you're a fucking crybaby, then things are off limits.
That's true.
Exactly.
In comedy.
The Substitute Teacher one was pretty damn funny too.
Yeah, the Substitute Teacher one is genius. If you guys haven't seen it, Key and Peele. I think it's called Substitute Teacher.
I think it's called Substitute Teacher. Yeah.
Woo, YouTube that.
That's a winner.
Yeah,
I
have
saw
you
that
seen
one.
it?
I don't know. I don't know if I have.
Like, what's the premise? Nick?
The premise is that it's hard to describe without giving away the joke. But the premise is that well, now we got to look it up.
Oh, I think you've talked about this.
I think I showed
you. Is it
you.
about names and then
yes,
okay,
one of the
stop. Then everybody go look at it. Yeah. Okay.
It's funny. It's worth it.
Yeah.
But yeah, go see Fury Road. Wait for Pitch Perfect 2 to come on Netflix.
Yeah, Pitch Perfect 2 is a perfect Netflix movie. It did not need to be seen in theaters. I enjoy it. I like those type of movies, so it's like I'm happy
Are you
I
one of
saw
these
it,
ones
but-
all heartbroken that Pitch Perfect drew more money at the box office than Mad Max?
No, I was pleasantly surprised that when I went into Fury Road, the theater was full. I would have assumed that movie would have tanked because it's not a movie that's anywhere close to mainstream.
Yeah.
Where like you look at the trailer and you're like,
I mean, it's kind of intimidating.
It's
honestly.
very intimidating.
Like you see
It's
that
supposed to
trailer,
be.
and it's like when you don't know what the hell it's about, it's kind of like I
Damn,
don't
son.
know if I want this, you know?
and even when you go in and you're watching it, some of the techniques that he uses to make the film are very specifically like not mainstream Hollywood. Like when he does his action sequences, specifically, he shoots them a little. He like undercranks so that when they play back, they're faster, and it has that 70s like feeling of like we're speeding up the footage, but it's his style, and his style is very, very, very specific to him. And you go in and you're like, you kind of just have to go in open-minded or on something. That might be interesting too, but that might have tripped me out. Anyway, it's worth it though, because I mean it's beautifully made and the spectacle of it is. But you are going to go in and be like, this is a little scary. It's intimidating.
It seems scary as fuck.
It's not a happy-go-lucky world. It's just twisted.
That's the beauty of Mad Max. I mean, I haven't seen Mad Max in a long time, but that's what I always walked away from it was like there just seems to be a lot of influence cast from that movie on a lot of post-apocalyptic and dystopian literature, and it's or just like fiction, and it's so old now that I don't think people realize it. Like, I really don't think people like realize it, and it's lost on me sometimes. Just that desert aesthetic, that real fucking like dead, desolate, fucking crazy ass. Like, you don't even know who you're fighting and why you're fighting them, and like. It really does remind me of Borderlands. Like, everyone's just wearing fucking masks. They have no shirts on, and they're like fighting with chains and all that.
If
and
you
like,
watch this one specifically too, there is a lot of like, because it's a little bit more defined. I think when everyone thinks of Mad Max, what you're really thinking about is Road Warrior. Not a lot of people remember Mad Max. Mad Max is when the society was still around.
Yeah, I remember.
And it started to decline, and he was a cop at the time.
I remember. I saw that one too. I just remember like a white building, like a big concrete building.
Yeah,
and like there was normal people.
There was.
And,
that was like the cop building.
Yeah.
And, like eventually he realizes like the society is degrading at such a fast speed that it's like being a cop is useless because no one cares. So he takes his family away to the country. And then what's crazy is actually the guy that's the bad guy in Mad Max is actually the bad guy in this one. He recast him as the new bad guy, which is
that's
pretty
awesome.
Cool. Yeah, he's like 40 years older, which is
Yeah,
hilarious.
yeah.
But he's freaking awesome. He's the guy if you see the preview, he's got the big skull mask, like breathing apparatus, and like the crazy eyes and the white hair. But yeah, this one's a little bit cooler because there's a lot more of a world set up. Road Warrior is basically he comes across a town that's basically they've made their own town in the desert. They've got water and oil and like they're being constantly bombarded by these like marauders. And so he has to pick a side basically, and he eventually picks a side of these righteous people and tries to fight against them. This one's a little bit crazier than that, but there are like the way that I don't want to spoil anything, but the way they've set up the world and like who the bad guys are is a little bit more defined, and it's really cool because it makes sense in the context of how the world has basically degraded to a place where there's the most people fight for the most basic human needs of like water and food and transportation and protection, basically, and that's basically it.
Yeah, I'm interested. I got to go back because I want to know. I haven't watched Mad Max as an adult, I don't even think, and I want to see how even some of its influence has been lost on me, and where I can trace at least those first two movies back to, and obviously see this one as well, because it reminds me just in the same sense as like I think it's lost on a lot of people, and certainly lost on me. I'm not a cinema freak like you are. Like I don't know as much about it, but I think we lose sight with sci-fi, for instance, about how much things like Blade Runner and Alien influenced everything.
Oh yeah,
and like you can only remember when you go back and really watch Blade Runner or watch Alien, and then you're like, oh, this is in everything,
right?
You know. There would be no Dead Space without Alien.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, Blade Runner is like ubiquitous almost.
Yeah, it's everything. Watch, Mass Effect and tell me that that's not influenced by Blade Runner.
Exactly. So so that's almost why it's so exciting, is because I just think about the aesthetic of those movies and specifically the desert and desolate aesthetic of Mad Max. It's not even really like, it's not like a city or it's not the United States,
right?
So it's Australia, and it's
that's a good point.
And so it's just all like, and in the middle of Australia is just nothing,
barren.
So like literally just nothing at all. So and that is it, and that is the aesthetic, you know, and I like it.
I gotta go back. I gotta go back and watch Thunderdome again. Too.
Wait, so is this the third movie?
This is the fourth.
Okay.
There's Mad Max, which is
what's the basic Twitter version of the plots of each one?
The plot of each one is that the world has basically been destroyed because of, I don't want to spoil why. I guess it's not really a spoiler. You figure it out in the first 5 minutes of the movie. Basically, what's happened is there's a war, and we were fighting for resources, and nukes got unleashed, and it has basically destroyed all of the water supply. And so people fight over water. They fight over oil, gasoline, basically, because that's transport, and they fight over food. And the way in which they do it is you basically have to... the style of the film is basically that road sort of carnage. So all of the action sequences, all the main action sequences take place as cars are driving, and you see the big, like, they have all these crazy ways of attacking cars and shit, like depending on whether they want to destroy them or take them. And so basically their movie centers a lot around that. But the basic gist is he plays a character named Max, who is, spoilers, who has had his entire family basically killed in front of him, and he's been out in the middle of this barren wasteland, a post-apocalyptic world, surviving in this badass cop car that he used to have back in the day that he's like souped up and like fortified. And he, that's it.
So wait, that's Road Warrior?
The original Mad Max is basically that, right? Where the world is degrading, and you're seeing news reports of like how war is happening and people are like, all of society is breaking down. Then his family dies, and then Road Warrior starts with him basically having been out there for a really long time in just the wasteland, and he comes across these marauders that are attacking this town that has water and oil. That's like this makeshift town that's fortified itself, and they're getting killed and slaughtered, and he basically has to decide if he's going to help them, and the way he helps them is by convincing them that they need to get the hell out of there and like get away. Just take the tanker of oil that they're trying to get and just get out of there with it. And then
if I heard you correctly, the next one is called
Thunderdome. There's Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome.
Okay.
Now Beyond Thunderdome is where it took a turn for the strange. And I haven't seen Beyond Thunderdome in a while, but the basic story is there's a town that he comes across that Tina Turner is the basically like leader of, and the way they solve disputes in this town is by something called Thunderdome. Where
Which is exactly what you think it is.
It's
an acapella competition.
2 men enter, right? 1 man leaves.
Right, exactly.
Is the name is the motto of Thunderdome. And so basically, if you have a discrepancy with someone, or if you committed a crime or a violation of the laws, you go in and you fight someone. And then Thunderdome is basically a giant. Remember those playground things that like were the half spheres that you can climb around on?
It looks like Elimination Chamber.
It's that. But strapped to those, you're strapped to bungee cords. And if you can get up to the higher levels of it via like running and jumping, there's like chainsaws and shotguns and axes and stuff. So basically and it's their sport.
Again, a major influence on video games specifically. In terms of like arena battles and horde mode and all that kind of shit. Oh my God. And that's what I'm saying. Buried in these movies is the influence for everything we do.
Well, that's why I'm excited. Like I have no interest in seeing Fury Road. Like it doesn't sound like something I'd want to watch. I mean, it sounds interesting. If it's on TV one day, I'll catch it.
You
but
want Borderlands.
The video game I want to play.
Avalanche.
I mean, that's just how I want to play. I like to do that interactive experience.
Avalanche is doing that game, and that game has been long in development. That game looks fucking awesome.
Yeah,
I'm really interested to see like what you think about when it comes out September. It comes out the same day Metal Gear comes out.
Oh wow, okay. Maybe I'll play that one first.
Which I feel bad for them because they're probably gonna get. I think they'll be okay, but probably not as well. But I can't wait. Avalanche is so good. I can't wait to see. What they do.
Yeah, when we saw the gameplay trailer, and it was open world, run around. It looks so good, like just in terms of movement. To get out there and have open world, open quests,
so orange and
things.
brown and black. It captures the color palette.
Well, they've got great source material to work with. If they can capture like half of what that game's like intensity is, the movie's intensity was, I think they'll be okay. Because I mean, that's the whole point of these movies is that you're supposed to watch them and be like psychologically jarred because it's a post-apocalyptic society. There's no hope. We're not coming back. There's no MacGuffin where you're like, if we can just turn this button, right? If we can get to this button, we're gonna save the world and water. No. It's just like everyone's psychotic because they've been living in this world and fighting for so long that they're not normal human beings anymore. They're psychopaths. And if you come across me and we're both psychopaths, one of us is gonna claw the other person's fucking face off, and that's just what's gonna happen. And that's kind of that's his whole thing, right? Is it's not you're not going in to see Titanic, right? There's no happy ending where she's like, oh, I loved him, whatever. No. And if this were Titanic, another Titanic would have barreled into it, and the Marauders would come off and like raped and pillaged everyone, and then stolen all the shit and like scalped people, and then gotten back on their boat and done it again. Like, and that's kind of why it's cool because it is sort of like it does. This one feels literally like we reached back into the late 70s, early 80s, and scooped it up and just kept it in a time capsule, and
that's
then
awesome.
Finally released it now.
It sounds cool.
Yeah, it's fun. And they just don't make movies like this, right? Like, because you can't make a movie where 90% of it is such horribly like violent imagery that like I don't even know how it got. I have no idea how it got made and how it got through the MPAA and how it got like put into theaters. Because
like not an NC-17 rating or anything.
It's not that violent, but it's like remember when you saw Silence of the Lambs and the entire movie you were like, I'm gonna have a nightmare about this. Like I'm gonna get to the end of this and like think about this and it's gonna scare me a little bit afterward. That's what this is. This isn't one of those like it's not like I'm trying to think of an analog to it, but it's not like a Fast and Furious movie where you get out and you're like, oh, that was just cool. Like, everything was great, fun. This was like you get out of this and you're like, I gotta think about my life for a little bit and like think about where I'm at.
Everything
like,
I've taken for granted.
Yeah, and just like shit, man. And Hardy's awesome, but it's not his movie. And spoilers, it is a movie about Charlize Theron's character.
Nice.
And that's how kind of Road Warrior was, where he was more of a sort of facilitator. Like he came in and he was sort of the guy that allowed them to sort of realize the flaws in their system and like take them forward.
Yeah.
This movie is very much about Imperator Furiosa, which is Charlize Theron's character, and her struggle and what she's trying to accomplish. He just happens to be like he's there and just happens to be like Mad Max, where he's like, well, I'm here, so I'm gonna help you achieve this goal via basically ripping people's heads off.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just cool the way they like all the little things they figure out to do that you would need to do to attack a car that was in motion. Like you see in the trailers, like they have these big sticks that have counterweights of another human being on the other side as a counterweight. And so if you just like if someone hops on it and there's a person up here, it goes whoop, like one of those dipping birds.
Yeah.
And you'll dip over and they can like land on the car and like start fighting and stuff. It's just cool.
All right.
It's
That's
worth
awesome.
seeing in the theaters. I've already spoiled.
I'm
half
fucking
of it.
excited, man.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you didn't know, this is the Game Over Greggy show. Each and every week, 4, sometimes 5 best friends gather on this table, each bring a random topic of discussion for your amusement. If you like that, you can get the whole show early over at patreon.com/kindafunny. But if you don't want to give us any money, no big deal. Wait till it posts topic by topic, day by day on youtube.com/kindafunny. Then that Friday, we post everything on MP3 services and that same YouTube page. That was a good topic, Nick.
Thank you.
Tim,
Yes.
what do you got?
So last week we did this crazy thing called Kinda Funny Live.
Oh, I remember this.
It happened. It's finally happened. We can say that it is done. And it was a goddamn good time.
It was fun.
So my topic today is I want to talk about it. I want to kind of recap it, what happened there, our experiences.
Good.
You know, what we think the future might look like. All of these things.
You want to have our postmortem about kind of
Yeah,
Funny
let's do a
Live
little
right here.
postmortem. Let's let the people hear what our thoughts are. Because to be completely honest, we haven't. The four of us kind of sat and talked about it for.
No. You
Like,
guys
we just
didn't-
haven't at the time.
Yeah, you guys didn't come in yesterday.
Mm-mm.
Took a day off
Slept,
as needed.
hibernated.
Yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
And then we all reunited today and had to do a million other things.
Reunited
And it feels
so
When I saw
good.
Faith No More in 2010
Yeah.
on their first tour in forever, they opened with that.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And they all came out in suits. And Mike Patton had a cane. And he was
Really?
walking around like he was all like
Old as
hobbled.
shit.
And then they played from out of nowhere and he threw the fucking
he
cane.
pulled the
That's
Willy.
fucking
He pulled the
awesome.
Willy Wonka.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
You wanted it?
Pull it a Willy Wonka.
Kind of Funny Live was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
We knew going in it was going to be more than what people were expecting it to be. I was excited to find out that it was when we talked to them about it. You know what I mean? Like, for me, it started days prior when you showed me the videos, the intro videos for the presidential debate, the intro video to the event, and stuff like that on your computer. And even that got me choked up. in the fact of like, holy shit, this is a real thing. This is like way bigger than even I was expecting it to be. So to get that, to unleash that on everybody and watch them and listen to their reactions, right? Like when we were hidden away for the intros, right, getting ready for the presidential debate, and hear their reaction and them count down and them do the kind of funny call and response thing, like it was awesome.
Yeah, it was crazy, man. Like I was smiling that entire night harder than I've smiled in my entire life. Like every picture of me, I'm just grinning, and it's just like that's how I felt the entire time. And like I got chills just constantly, like just goosebumps the whole night. I just felt so jittery and antsy, and it's like there was never a point of being nervous. It was always just a point of just pure excitement and adrenaline, and just like, oh my God, it was just like a dream come true. And man, it just worked. Everything about it worked. And that moment you were just talking about, like being there and seeing the set that Nick's brother Matt made, and like just seeing the whole, like the balloons and the like having all the people come in, the lights and the colors, and like seeing kind of funny logos everywhere. It was like, this is insane.
Yeah.
Like this is bigger than I thought it was going to be, and I was one of the ones that planned it. Like,
it's easy for us to lose sight of what we do, right? And the way, and even when we get fan letters or we get packages or PO box mail, right? It's somebody telling you they like your content or whatever. But when it was like 400 people there who were in love with us, and the reaction when we yanked down the tarp to reveal the set, like that was fucking mind blowing. You know what I mean?
The people want to see this stupid ass freaking castle we live in.
Yeah, I mean, I think when we started talking about Kind of Funny Live, right, it was very easy for us to just kind of default to, look, what we really need to do is just get a bunch of people in a room and do the GameOverGreggy show. And that would have been fine. That would have been fun. That would have been a cool event, and that would have been exactly what people were expecting. But somewhere along the line, I think it just became more fun to make a spectacle. It always is going to be.
Yeah.
And I think what we like to do, each and every one of us, is to try and take people's expectations of what, because I mean, there's a lot of people out there that would have been fine just coming out to support us. I'm sure people would have come out just to meet us all this way. But I think what's cool about what we tried to accomplish, and I think the heart of it, was that we wanted to create something that didn't just meet people's expectations, but blew them out of the freaking water. And for me personally, is I like performing. I like the idea of a stage show. I like the idea of mounting a spectacle for people, because especially now, we're never gonna be able to do it again. Now the next year, people are gonna be like, okay, these guys, these motherfuckers are crazy, right? Like these guys are a little crazy. They're gonna do something fun. Like that's gonna be cool, and we don't know what it's gonna be. It might not be the same thing as always, but I think that going in with zero expectations and letting people see what we wanted to do, I think was part of the thing that kept me going specifically. Yeah. All the way through the 2 tech rehearsals, load in, all that stuff, dealing with venues and stuff like that. But I loved it. It was fun. I mean, it felt like we were performing, which was cool.
Yeah, I mean, it was crazy. Like I feel like specifically me and you come from a much more production angle than these guys. And, for us, we've always been kind of about that, like, let's produce something. Whereas they've been way more just like, we're good at just being naturally doing stuff, Right. So it's like, for us to combine all those skills and kind of create a show around all 4 of our strengths was super fun and super crazy. And like, for me, the entire thing was, if I was going to go to this event, what would make me go, oh shit? And then it turned into, what would make me keep saying, oh shit?
Yeah, right.
And then it turned into, how can I keep me saying, oh shit, every 5 minutes?
Right.
Like, and we didn't want to create a 10-hour thing of just like boring people. It's like, let's focus on 3 hours where every 5 minutes something happens that impresses you and excites you and like makes you wonder what's going to happen next. And like, I think we did that. And that was really cool to see and talk to all the people and have them be like, whoa, this was crazy. And then to stay afterwards and like take pictures with all of them on the set.
Yeah.
Like one by one, having them come up. And like, something that I thought was really cool was after the show, like a couple days after, people are still using hashtag Kind of Funny Live, and we can look on Instagram and see all the hashtags and stuff. And I was with my girlfriend, and she was just like looking through all the pictures, and she's just like, you guys are doing a different pose in every single picture, and you guys look engaged in every single picture.
Sure.
And she's like, that's crazy. Like, you guys waiting and taking pictures with everybody, like, that's super awesome. But you guys actually giving a fuck about each and every single person, that's what makes this whole thing special. And like, when you say they're friends, she's like, the whole best friend thing, like that, I always thought it was cute. And I was like, but then I was like, oh shit, this is real. Like, they are best friends. And like, that's what makes me most excited about all of this, is every single person that was there felt the energy we felt. They felt like they were a part of it. And the coolest thing about that is, I know that every single person there is going to come back next year,
right,
and tell their friends, and it's going to be even bigger and better. We're going to get to do this for more people.
Yeah, there was an electricity in the room, and that like you saw it. You know, I was the guy who was doing all the community events with them, so I went to the movies with them on Friday. Obviously, the show on Saturday, and then out to this Off the Grid, which is like picnic in the park on Sunday, right? And that connection everybody had with each other, and they took it to heart when I put in the welcome packet that if you're here alone, turn to your right or left, like you're with friends, you can talk to them, and they made those bonds, and they all went down, and there was like 2 or 3 different groups, like the Sean Pitts group, Nikki's group, like all these different groups roaming around San Francisco doing stuff, and they'd occasionally become one super group and then go off and do that, you know what I mean? Like they were all there together, and the way they reacted at the event and then afterwards even, but like at the event with the energy we're talking about, right? Like beforehand, like I'm at Tone Deaf, you know, at rehearsal or whatever. Super cool dude. He knew a little bit about me. I knew a little bit about him, and that was it, right? And then at the end of the night, Saturday, after we were like, he was like the last guy to leave. He went to meet you guys as I was packing up our stuff to leave. And like there was that moment of like, now I knew what he does, and he knew what we do, and we both knew what this was today. And he pulled me aside and hugged me. He's like, you know, this is going to get so much better. Like, you know, this is something special and different, right? Right? Like, he wanted to make sure that I felt it. I'm like, yeah, no, I totally get what has happened and transpired here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That we have made friends that we already knew we had, but now they all know each other and they all have a personal connection with us. And now they get to go out and go back to real life, but come back whenever they want to.
Yeah. And I mean, that's the thing is like, you know, we're talking about the live show, but we should actually maybe go through a recap of everything we did for the people that weren't there and maybe don't know. But
well, we're going to put some of it up, right?
No, but I'm saying like in this episode, we should probably
Sure.
recap what happened. But like we announced the Kind of Funny forums, and that's crazy because we're already seeing all those friendships that were made at the show. They've now continued into that forum group, and now we're seeing all those people talk and like. It's great, man.
Totally unexpected that kindoffunny.com/forums. There's people there like that are like, I couldn't go, so I'm in Chicago. Let's do a meet and greet here. I'm in the UK. Like there's all these different threads about like like even the Bay Area fans are like, hey, let's try to get this together monthly. And it's like, whoa, I never even thought about that.
Yeah. So that's really, really awesome.
Yeah, that was one of those things where like at the end, the venue, the nice people at Broadway Studios where we threw the event. There's another venue in that building which we didn't even realize, and she was like, hey, you know, if you guys wanted to do like stuff like smaller things, like we could work out a deal where maybe I can give you a smaller venue for free and you can just bring people in and do meet and greets and stuff like that. And that's when it occurred to me, I was like, wow, that we could do that. Because my idea of like originally I was like, oh, we should do one of these live events quarterly, and I realized that would kill us. Yeah. Unless we had way more people helping out with them, which is a possibility as well. But just doing smaller meet and greets is always really fun too. I remember the one we did at PAX blew me away. I was like coming into that bar in Boston out of the cold and looking around and going, okay, I wonder where everyone is because the bar was packed, and then realizing that every single person in that bar was there to see us. And everyone's like, hey, Nick. And I'm like, oh shit, you guys are wow, okay. But I want to say the one crazy thing was that like it didn't feel like we were doing a performance for a group of strangers.
Oh no,
when every time we saw or anyone shouted something out, it prior to the event, we had a bunch of our close friends or ex-coworkers from IGN come and hang out, right? Like Ty Root showed up at 6 o'clock. He had to run Beta Breakers the next morning, but he's like, I want to come. Can I come at 6, just say what's up, see the thing, and just support you guys for a few minutes? And Oransky came, and Finnegan came, and Mike P came. And then everyone else started funneling in. And the difference between those guys that I had known for 9 years and worked closely to, and the new people that were coming in that I had never met before, there was no difference in feeling talking to those people. Yeah. That's what was really, really cool, especially afterward, where everyone was kind enough to wait in line for like 2 hours for just to kind of hang out and say thanks or say what's up to us for 5 seconds and get a picture. None of those people felt like strangers. None of them. Yeah. Everyone felt like people that I just had not met yet, but that we had been talking to forever, which I thought was really, really, really cool. And everyone, we just have some of the best friends on the freaking planet out there. Like everyone was so accommodating. It almost felt like they were there for us, not the other way around. And that's what was really, really cool. Where it was like every time someone came out, I can't tell you how many people are like, "Do you want a drink? Do you want something? Like, can I help out with something? Can I put chairs away?" And I'm like, "No, the guys, this is our thank you to you for all the crazy stuff that you guys have allowed us to do over the years."
They're just so nice. Like all of them are so nice. And that was something like my friends were kind of running the merch table, and all of them were like, "This doesn't make sense. Like we didn't have that much merch to sell because we didn't know. Yeah, we just didn't know. We thought that like we would be prepared for you guys, but man, you guys wanted stuff way more than we thought." But there was guys that were just like, "Oh man, I'm a large. You only have this in small? I'll take it. I'll go on a diet." And it's just like, really? It's just like, yeah, whatever. Like I want to support it. And then there was like people that were just like, "Oh, here's $30." It's like, "Oh, the shirt's $25. Oh, I don't care." And they just walked away. And it's like, what? And like
And
these
they
are
pocketed
people,
all that money.
These are people that have done retail before, so like they know they're like, dude, customers are usually fucking assholes about stuff. And it's just like we just got such a good group of people that just want to be part of this, and they are part of it. Like everyone in that room was part of the show,
and that was cool. I was telling you guys earlier when we were kind of doing a little bit of a talk about it before the show that I was like, I think one of the most fun moments for me was when we had to take a unscheduled 10-minute break so someone could go move their car.
One guy parked on Broadway.
And great hat that guy was wearing though, and we ended up just standing up there with one mic talking to the audience. That was super fun.
Yeah,
because that was when there was no pressure. I was like, oh, we could just be us. Like the presidential debate that we did, I got really nervous because I was like, this is scripted. We had to do 2 rehearsals on this, and like a lot of the comedy relies on the timing of it. But then everything else after that was awesome.
Colin?
Yeah, I mean, a few things. I think my nerves weren't bad. Like I used to get really nervous before every hockey game I played, especially because I felt like you're the goalie and people are kind of paying attention to you. The goalie. Well, my Ducks 2 reference. So I used to get like really nervous and really worked up, and then when I felt I always just say like when I felt the puck for the first time, I felt fine. So like if I made a save or whatever, like just like even a simple save, you feel the puck, you feel good. Yeah. If you let up that first shot, it's really bad. And that happens every once in a while. But so like I never had that moment. I felt pretty comfortable immediately, and I was a drummer in a band that was making its bones around Long Island for several years, and we played some big shows. I played before 300, 400, 500 people, but we were always the opening act, and that was when I was like really nervous because like people aren't here for us,
right?
Like, and we would change minds by the way we played, and people liked us, whatever. But that was when I used to get really nervous. So I was trying to harken back to like in my mind like what are these touchstones in my life where I can prepare for this moment, and the reality was. There really were none because this wasn't like playing hockey. This wasn't like playing drums in a band, especially being behind a bunch of cymbals and no one can see you, and it was great. So I felt good from the get go, and I think that people really did have an authentically good time. And I think that one of the things that was important for me to at least communicate to you two, and that's why I wrote you guys an email and Kevin, was that I think Greg and I get the lion's share of the compliments about what we do because we're just the front facing and I guess most known people on this and as an entity of this channel. And I was like, that's happening less and less now, thankfully, because people are starting to see that the input that we all put in. It's like when you write for a website and like we used to, and it's like, well, we're the ones getting all the accolades, even though an engineer made this and a computer designer designed this and all these kinds of things. They don't get any credit for that. It really was a show that you guys did. And what kind of showed up to. And we don't have the expertise to even help. So it was a matter of like, I was impressed watching you guys work. I was especially impressed with Tim's kind of go-gettedness of doing more and more and more, and watching Nick work. I thought was really fun because like we just don't come from this world,
100%,
Greg and I.
Yeah.
And
I told everybody on Friday, I was like, when you get there, thank Nick and Tim.
Yeah,
like, they're the ones who made this what it is. Colin and I would have fucking sat at a card table and talked to you, and then come off stage and drink.
Yeah, I mean that's what we did, and Kevin too, of course, did a great job, and that's what. That's the thing and that was the difference. It's like Podcast Beyond 200 was fun, and Podcast Beyond 300 was fun. This shat all over, like all over what we used to do and what we used to think was cool.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the guy who planned both those
just
events. That's not a knock at IGN. That's not even a knock. It's just that I planned a completely different thing. Right. I planned. The first time we're going to podcast in front of a room. The second time we're going to podcast in a room full of people, and Life in 24 Frames and Troy Baker are going to perform.
Oh no, that's not an insult to you either. It's just to say
I
like
wanted to make sure the audience understood that we weren't saying.
No, it just shat all over it.
Right.
Like I was one of the stars of both of those shows, and I'm telling you, like it was like a whole nother level. It was a whole nother level of engagement. It was a whole nother level of production. It was a whole nother level of fan interaction. And I think one of the things that we haven't talked about yet, you touched on the forums, is we announced 8 different things that night too. So it wasn't only watch us perform, watch us do the presidential debate, the silly presidential debate that I thought was silly, and I didn't know how I was going to play, and I played much better than I thought it was. And then we did GameOverGreggy show and all that stuff. But we announced the forums and the app. We announced several new shows and new T-shirts and women's sizes for T-shirts and all these Colin and Greg Live on Patreon now and all those kinds of things. So there was like a little bit for everyone. It was what I was saying before when we were sitting around the kitchen table. I always used to get mad when people would say, Sony's press conferences are too long, and I'm like, I like them. They're awesome because they just keep announcing shit, and I care about it. And so like that, I think that we were able to hit those notes, and I thought that was very successful. I think that the overall, the word I'd use to describe the entire night in terms of our business is vindicating, because I feel vindicated we have built this audience, this hardcore small group of intimate, relations that we have, I don't mean that, of course, in a dirty way. And they care about us, and they care about each other, and they care about each other's well-being, and they want to meet each other. And that's one of the things I said on stage, which was like, this was fun, and I'm glad I got to meet people and see people again, for the second or third time. But really, the interaction with everyone else was what was essential and what was key. And I think, this is real. And I said it on stage. I'm like, I think that this is just the very beginning for this company and this organization. And we're nervous and we're kind of throwing things out there and seeing what works and what doesn't. Some things work, some things don't. But like this worked, and we will do it again. I know a lot of people have been asking, like, will we do it again and will we do it other places? Yes,
100%.
And I think that we have to figure out, the financial realities of those kinds of things. Because we don't want to lose money, obviously, and we didn't lose money on this. But I want to go to New York. A lot of people are asking us to go to London. London and Toronto are just as requested as New York and Chicago and LA. And like those are things we were paying attention to, and we have to figure those things out. I don't know if it's realistic, but we're listening and we're hearing you guys. We had a great time. The interaction on YouTube is one thing. The interaction on Twitter and Facebook are another thing, and the forums, of course. But being able to be with you guys in person was very important.
Yeah, that's the thing for me. And first off, thank you for that nice email because that did mean a lot. And I'm sorry we didn't respond to that, but I was sleeping most of the day on late Sunday and early Monday. But yeah, that was one of the crazier things when I started looking at like paying attention to Twitter because I kind of went into a cave for a while, and then right around Saturday morning when everything was kind of coming together after that rehearsal, I started looking at that hashtag and realizing that like 90% of the people that came into town didn't even need us.
Yeah.
They were just like, oh, we're having a blast without you guys. Yeah. And like, we're going to happy to see you later. But like, we've been having a blast since Thursday night when we all got in.
And that was the funny thing. I think a lot of them didn't realize at the time, right? Is that they were running around the city for days, nearly a week with each other, having such fun, thinking that the big thing was getting to be with us on Saturday, right? When in reality, it was just the fact that they got to be with each other and have this awesome vacation together. You know what I mean? Like Friday and Sunday were so great just to be with these people and hang out. You know what I mean? And like, Sunday, we hung out in the park for like 5 hours, just laying there eating fried chicken, all talking, sitting around, you know what I mean, drinking and hanging out and just talking. And it was like one of those things, it was a huge group that came. We had many looks at Off the Grid as to why there were 50 to 75 people together on this lawn. But it's like, I did my best to make my way around to talk to everybody, try to touch everybody to say, hey, what's up? But even that meant that you got 30, 45 minutes with me before I went to the next group to do something. You know what I mean? Like they were with each other. They were leaning on each other, and they all had a great time. It seemed.
But that's the goal, right? And it's so cool when you talk about the forums, where the forums were one of those things that we've been working on for a while, and that everyone had requested. And then finally, I got the opportunity to experience our community on the forums for the first time, not as a person that's like, oh, all the hard work that went into making these things reality. Not by me, by James, by the way. And huge shout out to James Schuler for making that all happen. He's a badass. We are in his debt. But then the Mad Men season finale happened, and my wife immediately went to bed because she was like, oh, it's 11 o'clock. I got to go to bed. I was like, but I want to talk to someone about this. And then I was like, I wonder if there is a thread on this on our forums. And sure enough, there was. And I jumped on and I started going back and forth, and people were like responding to mine, and so that was. And then within like an hour of just kind of checking back in, there was a nice conversation going on about it. And I was like, oh, this is really, really fun. So then 2 hours later, I'm posting on like there's a great thread about what's the last thing, what are you watching, what's the last movie you saw, Fury Road, and 80 people are talking about Fury Road, and we're going in there about it, and I'm like, we have a really fun group of people to interact with on any given occasion.
Yeah,
like,
it's just awesome.
It's just cool.
It is cool.
And no one was like, Nick's posting. They were just like, Nick, you're crazy. Like, this is this, or this is this. It doesn't. I don't feel like an outsider or anything that's any far removed from this.
It's when you get in that fucking forum and you're like, all right, and that says like, oh, I'll post it. It's like, Greg's posted 8 times, and then you look at somebody else, they have 116. I'm like, how have you already posted 100?
What's going on? That's awesome.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of the community too. Is that there should be no surprise that we would interact directly with you. I hope that we've removed that facade and that veil, because that's what this is all about. We are not, a few people real heartfelt said to me when we were shaking hands, and I was at the end, so like there was 4 of us standing, and people would kind of go to the end, and then they would walk away, and I was because I was at the end, and people were kind of like walking away. A few times I got distracted because they would talk to me last, and they'd be like, someone said to me, he's like, no one would do this. No one would stand here for 2 hours and shake hands and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, dude, like. He's like, I'm glad you guys haven't gotten too big for this yet. And I'm like, we're never going to get too big for this.
Yeah.
Like, there's always going to be, I don't want to get too big I don't like. That's not what I want. I do not want to be too big. Like I want to have this. I want to be able to sustain our lives and grow, but I don't want to become too big. Growth and too big are two different things.
Right.
And I don't want to ever be too big where I can't wade into a crowd of people and have fun with them.
We don't want to plan events for 10,000 people where we can't possibly take a photo with everybody. We're in plan events where we can fucking have a touch on everybody.
Yeah, it's the the intimacy that we share with each other that I think is special, and so we would never get that big. And I think but people understand that. So when we post in the forum, it isn't a big deal because we're not gracing you with our presence. You're gracing us with yours, and like I think that was kind of the thing we tried to parlay to people at this particular event. And I think. I give them a lot of credit too, and I want to give a special shout out, as we talked before, to Sean Pitts, because I just think that
Pitts. It's fine.
Here's the thing: we all got our jobs through some sort of passion, and I can only speak for myself, where I just made myself known and seen, and eventually it paid off. And man, Sean Pitts is doing everything right. And I think that
setting up hotel rooms, setting up meet and greets, setting up getting people cabs,
picking up people from the airport. I know.
Yeah.
We noticed these things, and I told him because I'm weird. Like I'm a recluse, and I don't hang out that much, and I'm like the Edgar Allan Poe of the internet or something like that. So I didn't
even know Edgar Allan Poe was a recluse, but there you go.
Yeah, he was like one of the weirdest motherfuckers of all time. So
that's funny.
So I wasn't quite aware. I knew he was one of the movers and shakers in our community, but I didn't realize, through my own ignorance, that just what he meant to everyone else and how people wanted to take pictures with him and get him to sign things and do all these things and just talk to him and stuff like that. And I told him twice that night, I'm like, I remember this and I will remember this and I will note this, if and when the time comes that we expand, because you have made yourself known, my friend. Like you have made yourself seen, loud and clear, and I think that's, whether or not it pays off in the end, I don't know, but all I know is it reminds me of my own journey. And I think that, it's awesome. It's just nice to see, and there's so many people. It's not to undercut anyone else because there's so many people.
There's so many people that did so many things.
Like
there was people, members of the Facebook group that were posting, they took a lot of really nice pictures. And Mayumi, what was her name? Yeah. She posted a bunch of pictures, and they're beautiful. And it's just she was engaging with people, because people weren't there. There was only 450 people there, which meant that there's billions of people that weren't. So it's for them to be able to experience that through just looking at the pictures or seeing all these fan videos, that's the thing. If you guys have videos of this show, and you guys let me know if this is not right, but
that's right.
Post them to YouTube.
Yeah.
Post them, share them, do whatever you want. We just want the word to get out there of how much fun everyone had at this thing.
If you're listening to this on Friday, thank you for being a Patreon subscriber. We'll have our video stuff up on Monday. That's the plan?
Monday is the plan.
Okay.
By the time this goes up,
theoretically, by the time this is on YouTube as a breakout, you'll see it.
But next week, we are going to start uploading all the videos of the live show. Everything we can put up. There's some things we can't. But
also, as a general just note, the forums obviously will be a thing that are evolving. They're going to evolve. We are listening to everyone's feedback. We're on the forums. We're reading. We know we need mods. We know we need. I'm sure by this time you guys are hearing this, we have a call with James. We're going to figure all this stuff out. But we hear you guys. We're figuring it out. We're going to be on top of it, and we're going to make the forums into something bigger and better every day.
But going back to the live show real quick, man, how cool was it to be in a room with people from everywhere?
Yeah.
From just all over America, people from Canada. I don't know if we had any other international people.
England.
There was some English people?
Yeah.
Did not know that. See, there you go. We're fucking worldwide.
We are worldwide.
And that's awesome. But it's there was so many people that were not from California at all.
Oh, yeah.
But even having said that, there's people that aren't from San Francisco. And, people think oh, LA and SF are close. I mean, they're not.
6-hour drive.
My brother met a bunch of people from Orange County, and he was like, hey, if you guys are they told him, they're like, we might do an Orange County meet and greet. And he's like, I'll go.
That's fucking awesome. But it's that's the thing is I feel like there's a lot of people that might have seen us announce this show and just been like, oh, I wish they were coming to me.
Yeah.
And it's I think that this is going to be a big eye-opening thing to them. They're like, oh, I guess I could have came there and I would have had friends to be with and things to do and it could have made a vacation out of it. And because I remember for me, going to New York and seeing all the Tone Deaf shows, it took a while. There was 2 of them I didn't go to because I was like, oh, I mean, that's so far and whatever. But then I was like, oh, there's people flying from LA and there's people flying from Australia and all this crazy stuff. It's I should do that too. I'm one of them.
That was the point we kept trying to make on Colin Moriarty Live leading up to it, where they're like, well, why isn't it being live streamed? You know what I mean? Or why isn't it going here? And it's well, we're learning how to do this, number one. But number two is we want people to walk away from this understanding the difference between Kind of Funny Live and Kind of Funny is doing a podcast at MomoCon.
Yeah,
Right?
and I think
there's
that's
a stark difference that when next time we say Kind of Funny Live is happening here, you fucking make a point to be there.
Yeah, I
It's
think
worth
that. Yeah, I think that's. It's safe to say we would never stream something like that, even if it was like a big thing, because it's the example I use. When did I even say this? I think it was on Colin and Greg where I was like, I love 311, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is the great example I could use, and I think it's a very pertinent and salient example. Is like I love 311. When they tour, I start searching YouTube for videos.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't expect that I'm going to find the 1080p soundboard quality recording of them playing Sever. I'm going to find some dude in the front row holding his iPhone getting 30 seconds of it, and that's about as good as it's going to get because I wasn't there. You know what I mean? And I don't expect that I'm going to have the same quality experience of not being there as it being there because it's just not realistic. So it's a similar thing where it's like, then I think I'm like, man, I really got to go see 311. You know, like, and then I go. And I'm like, oh, okay, now I can see this in person, and it's exactly what I wanted it to be, and it's not that YouTube video anymore. It's so there's a difference. Real quick before we get off this topic, because we're getting obviously a little bit long in the tooth on this one, is Matt Scarpino. Now, a bravo to Matt Scarpino, because Matt Scarpino, of course, you can follow him as at Scarpino Man on Twitter. Really great guy. We've met him before. Obviously, we know him. He's your brother. We love him very much. I just want to compliment him for what I would feel like is an artful, and I'm being totally serious, an artful melding of humor and seriousness, of professionalism and knowledge, but also levity, you know? And I think that I learned a lot watching him. I think he taught Kevin a lot, which I think is very important for this business. And I can't wait to work with him again. And I gave him one of my bottles of bourbon to show him my appreciation to him because he's a really, really, really good dude. And I really like him. You know?
Matt's one of those guys that I am who I am because of him. Like, he taught me early on that you can have fun while you're working as long as you're getting shit done. And I don't mean like getting things done like you're making sure everything that you're supposed to do gets done. I mean get shit done. Like, since college has been a scenic artist and scenic designer, and he runs his own company, Sets Unlimited, down in Orange County. But he does so much more than that. In that we talk a lot too, because he's like, I want to expand what I do. I want to get into more bigger events. And basically, he's a producer that can go into any situation, really, from TV to stage to now new media, and just really thrive and get, like, take the idea of 4 crazy people and make sure it gets fully realized to a place where it's well beyond what I thought we could have accomplished beyond. And that's just his strength. And also just, as a huge shout out to him, he did all this for basically at cost or for free. Like, I covered his raw materials and some of his labor for the people that he needed to pay. But for the most part, he did about 2 weeks of work for me for nothing, just because A, he loves us, loves me specifically, but obviously he loves you guys. He's a huge fan. And B, he just likes to be a part of crazy shit like this. Like, and that speaks to someone's character too. Because I don't know. I'd like to think I would do that. But I'm very selfish, and I get very absorbed in our work, and I very seldom put myself out there to just for a purely selfless thing. Like, I'm never selfless. I'm very, very selfish, and I love what we do here, and I pour so much effort into this. But like, I can't remember the last time I put that much effort into something just for the sheer sake of having fun and helping someone else out. And like, that's very defining of someone's character that they would do that. And it's crazy to me that he came up and did all that, and he basically called our show. And so he's doing all sorts of other crazy stuff, and I can't wait to see how much more we can work with him and collaborate with him on this, as well as what he's going to do in the future with all his other ventures, because he's just thriving and he's going to continue to be a badass.
Yeah, and I think that he deserves a lot of credit for that. And it reminds me of like what we're doing with which we'll see more of soon with Kind of Funny, the animated series, where my own brother's helping us out with that too. And when I saw what we were paying him, I was like, I'm like, that's fine with me if that's fine with him. But I talked to him, I'm like, I know you make, like, are you sure this is good? And he's just doing it because he wants to. Yeah. And I think it's the same thing with your brother. They like participating in this. And I think that we all benefit from that.
Definitely.
And then, down the road, hopefully we can pay Matt back and we can pay Dagan back. If we get an animated series, we do a series of live shows, then we're gonna pay it forward for him, and we're gonna pay it forward for Dagan. So
I mean, that's the onus is on us for that too. Yeah, right? Absolutely. It's not like I don't think either of our brothers are doing this as an investment. They're not. Like, my brother's not. He's just crazy. He's not looking at this going like, all right, this is gonna pay off 2 years for me in this way. He's just like, this is fun. This is a great thing, and karma will reward, because when you put that much positive energy into something, the world rewards you. It does. I don't know how. No one knows. It's one of those mystical things. But somehow, some way, because all of us, including the people that came to the show, put that much positive energy into it, it will grow, and it'll grow into an amazingly gigantic beast, like a colossus that you're not going to have to climb to destroy. You're just going to have to climb to kind of hang out with, which would be fun and get from place to place. Okay, you guys, I can hear it in my own voice how tired I am. We all sound like this. But yeah, I mean, like,
I sound fucking awesome.
You do. You got the 5 o'clock shadow, which means
Like
I know that you haven't
since Kind of Funny Live, and I won't shave again to the next Kind of Funny Live.
Grow that beard.
No, I'm not gonna do that.
I do hope. I do want to do it again though. As crazy as it is, it's one of those shows where like there's like almost a depression afterward. Where you're like,
oh sure,
I put
yeah,
so much energy into it, and now I'm like, I really do wonder what we could do next.
Dude, I'm calling it right now. We're gonna do it again next year.
Oh yeah,
this is gonna be an annual thing. Again, I'm not confirming this. I'm just saying, like, if everything I want to do goes to plan, we're gonna make it an annual thing. I do not think it will be called Kind of Funny Live next year. I think it's gonna be something bigger.
Kind of Funny Mania.
Kind of Funny Con, Kind of Funny Expo, Kind of Funny who knows.
Expo means something different.
We can't call it Kind of Funny Con.
Why?
Because there's already a KFC, and he's the Colonel. Okay, Tim. You can't screw with the Colonel.
I don't know, man.
But we can't call it an
is.
expo.
Yeah, whatever.
We could call it Con. I'm just joking.
Yeah.
We'd have to call it
Taco
Bell KFC.
I want to make it something bigger, and I want which is crazy to say, but like
I do too. I mean, when we talked about this, we talked about inviting our friends, like all of our indie dev friends, to come and have their games there, and that just became an unfortunate. That kind of fell by the wayside just because we're only 4 people planning this thing. But I would love to start outreach for it earlier and try to get people on board. Like that whole back room could have just been games that people could just sit there and play. And there's all sorts of
WWF No Mercy was there.
And people played it.
Yeah, I did. That's how I ended my night. I want you to know that I went in there against a great fan named Cameron who had bought a Lucha Libre mask in San Francisco for that. And we went in there, and for the record, I beat the living fuck out of this guy. Holy shit, did it feel good. Because I was like, I'm going to go in there and be exhausted.
Yeah.
And not to mention that every time I play No Mercy, I'm never like I was back in high school when I played No Mercy. I was the Rock in a hardcore match. He was Kane. And I just beat the shit out of him. And then it was both awesome and not so awesome is that as The Rock, to finish it, I did the people's elbow, ran off with my special, and then came up to the body. And I don't remember this, but I guess when you get back to the body, you have to hit B or something to drop the actual elbow. So I just ran around the ring, came back to him, and then just stood over him. And then I just laid on top of him and pinned him and still beat him. And I was like, how embarrassing is that, Cameron? You don't even need to get hit with the people's elbow to lose. Kane sucks. And then he left the building, and they turned off the lights.
That's awesome.
That's awesome.
Before we move on real quick, I do want to give a shout out to Tone Deaf, who is one of my greatest role models in my life. And I can't believe he flew out from New York City to perform at Kind of Funny Live. And that was a crazy moment for me for so many reasons. But specifically that I was a little worried because I was like, Tone Deaf is a very technical rapper. And he's performing in front of a group of people that aren't necessarily into rap music.
Yeah.
And it's like me and him talked, and we tailored the set to have he did 4 songs, and each one had a very specific thing. He made a custom song about us, which we'll release, and that's fucking crazy for you guys to delve in and actually see what he's saying. Then when he did a song called Pervert, that's like a comedy song, and I'm like, that totally up the alley of our people. That'll be great. Then he did one that's just showing off how fast he can rap, which is like a cool party trick. And then he ended with this one where it's like a mosh pit song where everyone gets down and jumps up and goes crazy. And it's like, I was like, if people buy into this, they're going to have a lot of fun. I'm worried they're not going to, but if they do, it's going to be great. And then the moment that he got on stage and he just had the stage presence that he has,
like, get the fuck out.
And just like as entertaining as he was, every single person in the building was just like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
I will. Yeah. I'll get into this and I'll try. And my God, being on the balcony and seeing everyone jumping up and down to Tone Deaf, I was like, they did it. Thank you guys for supporting things I support. That was an unreal thing where it's just like, these people are amazing and they all just want to exude positivity.
Sure.
And thank you all for that. Thank you, Tone Deaf, for coming out. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks to Troy Baker also. For
I was going to say, this is a dangerous slope to go down. Because I don't want to forget anybody. There is a credits that I'm assuming we're releasing as a standalone video. So thanks Troy for moderating the debate. Thanks Dave for narrating everything. Dave Fenoy, DaveFenoy.com, narrating the front. Yeah, and we should cap it there because we will start and forget somebody and do all these different things. Thanks to family and friends and all that jazz.
Fredo.
I said stop.
I'm just saying.
We're not thanking Alfredo.
Well, fuck you, Alfredo.
Fuck you, Alfredo.
Little bastard.
Playing over your games over on that Twitch. Alfredo plays. Everyone should subscribe. I'll say something about that. It was a great event. We had a great time. Colin.
I have to go to the bathroom.
Oh, bathroom break.
Pee-pee break.
Colin.
Yes.
What's your topic?
I'm on my phone here because I'm trying to pull it up here.
And for the record, I was on my phone on the last topic because I was booking Trevor's cab to get him here for the Games Cast. What are you gonna say? What are you gonna do? How are you gonna hurt my feelings today?
I already said.
Hurt my
I already
feelings?
said it. It's because you're rude. I said it already. Greg, what I'm. Oh, that's not nice. What I'm really into is a lot of things, but etymology is really interesting to me. Not necessarily about words, but about where
that's when you cook
from.
marijuana into food.
Precisely. That's
precisely infusology.
Oh, okay. Edibles. That's where etymology comes from.
Edibles.
Right?
Now, one of the things that I was talking about with Troy Baker at the live show was our shared love of etymology, our shared love of where things come from, like words and sayings. And he taught me where the term green room comes from, which I didn't know.
I didn't know that. What is it?
And when we were in the green room, he taught it to me. So back in like the Middle Ages, or even in the maybe, or even in the Renaissance, everyone smelled bad. You know, like there was no
deodorant.
There was just it was different in terms of grooming and stuff like that. So everyone smelled like shit. So at plays, when actors would be getting dressed and undressed, they'd smell like shit. And to get rid of the smell or whatever, they'd put like green herbs down on the ground that when you'd step on them, it would like
express it.
Aroma, express it or whatever. And that's where the term green room comes from.
That's interesting.
So I was thinking about that, and I'm like, well, there are a bunch of sayings that we use but don't know what they mean, what they really mean, like throwing the baby out with the bathwater, for instance.
This is really
really
funny.
Kind of.
So there's a bunch of these websites, but I'm using BuzzFeed just because it's snappy and pithy.
Sure.
Pithy. And so I'll start with one that I know, and I'll just name and we'll just go as long as we want. I mean, it doesn't really matter.
Real quick, I want to give a shout out. Earlier I mentioned Flula is the German dude in Pitch Perfect that I was talking about. His whole thing is his YouTube channel is etymology, or is like it'll be like random phrases like this.
Oh, so you're gonna be good at this.
It's just no. But what he does is he like a hot mess. But like he'll do like the German version. He's like a heated mess. Why? And it's really funny. You guys should definitely check that out.
Okay.
And also check out the video me and Nick did last week on youtube.com/kindafunny. That was Nick tries to name the Pokemon because I did a lot of the etymology of the Pokemon names.
Right.
And that was fun. So yes.
I didn't get any of them correct.
Are you ready?
You got a couple.
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's rock and roll.
I watched that video. It's very good, by the way.
Thank you.
Very good idea. I'm gonna start with one that I know the word. And again, this story is by Adam Ellis over at BuzzFeed in case you want to look it up. I know what this one is because Ryan Gettys taught me this, and I didn't know this. Does anyone know what "don't look a gift horse in the mouth" means?
I heard you guys talking about this.
So you know it already.
So I do know about this.
Tim, do you know what it means?
I've never even heard that.
Don't look a gift horse in the mouth.
A gift horse?
Never look a gift horse in the mouth. When someone gives you something and you're like,
Yeah.
well, what is it? And you're like, or like if I were like, I'm gonna give you this phone, you're like, it's not the
6
iPhone
Plus.
6
Yeah,
Plus.
And then you say, well, "Don't look a gift
like,
horse."
don't look a gift horse in the mouth.
You never heard that saying before?
No.
You know what it means.
I've heard it. I don't know the etymology.
So I didn't have to look at this. This one I know, thanks to Ryan Gettys, who now works at CCP.
Troy also talked about it the other night.
Yeah,
Oh, no, you were talking about it to Troy. That's
Right,
what it
right.
was. Yeah.
Back in the day, horses would be exchanged or whatever. You'd buy a horse, and if someone gave you a horse, typically if you bought a horse, for instance, the first thing you do is look at its mouth and its teeth, because as it got older, its gums would recede, its teeth would be in bad shape, and you'd be able to age the horse and the health of the horse. But the term "don't look a gift horse in the mouth" means that if someone just gives you a horse, don't look at it in the mouth, like they're giving you the horse.
Right. It's
Don't
rude.
be an
You know
asshole.
what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's like where it comes from.
Okay.
That's the
In order,
etymology.
like to do that, you'd basically be insulting someone, saying like,
I'm
"You're
giving
giving
it
me
to you. What are you
I
crappy?
think it's a weird way to say though. Gift horse.
Yeah.
It's like if I gave
But
you
it's
pizza.
literal
Yeah, but the
at the
gift
time.
saying,
It was
pizza.
literal at the time.
but the saying's hundreds of years old. That's the point.
Yeah,
A lot of these
okay,
are.
okay.
This is when horses were still around. They don't exist anymore.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's the point of confusion.
Like
I had,
you're
for
thinking
sure.
horses as far as horsepower, as far as it's all about family.
Yes.
Fast and Furious.
All right.
That's what. Thanks, Kev.
So you ready for
Dominic
this?
Toretto.
So let's do a few of these, shall we?
Man, Kevin.
Let the cat out of the bag.
Ooh.
So I think that is because there used to be a world famous cat burglar who would steal cats from people and sell them on the black market. And then someone finally found him and was like, "Hey, I know who you are. You
Let
better
the
let
cat
all
out
those
of the
cats
bag."
out of the bag, or else I'm telling on you." Is it close?
No,
Is it
not
anywhere
at
close?
all.
Okay.
Cats are crazy.
That's what you think. That's what you think.
I had this
Yeah,
elaborate
I
thing.
don't
I was
got
trying to be
anything
clever,
for
and you get a laugh with
You
cats
put
are crazy.
a cats in the crazy bag and they come on nuts.
So in common etymology or common usage, letting the cat out of the bag means like letting a secret go.
Right,
letting
right.
Yeah.
the secret or
He
the
let
big
the
thing
cat out of the bag.
Right, exactly. In the story, it says, meaning to reveal a secret, letting the cat out of the bag find its roots in 18th century street fraud. Suckling pigs were often sold in bags, and a popular scheme was to replace the pig with a cat and sell it to an unwitting victim. Interesting, right?
yeah.
Interesting.
All right, here's another one. You're pulling my leg. So of course, pulling my leg today means
You're joking.
you're joking or you're
Kidding
like
me.
you're fucking with me.
Yeah.
Comes from the Zeppelin days. When they laid unmoor the Zeppelin to let it go. Sometimes some people would hold on to would grab the guy's leg as he went. He'd be like, no, we're still moored. And then I was like, oh wait, it was never tied to my leg. It was just Jones down there, Jonesy taking on
You're
my
just
leg.
pulling my leg.
I think it's when kids would try to sneak into carnivals, they would get on stilts and wrap a big trench coat around themselves. And then so that in order to test whether or not you were lying about your age, someone would go over and pull your leg real quick just to see if you fell down.
That's what you think it is?
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good one
That's
too.
amazing.
That's a good one
That
too.
was really
Good answer. It's like
Yeah,
Family
Family
Feud.
Feud,
Good
yeah.
answer.
We're going to nail one of these.
According to this story, it says meaning to tease someone or jokingly lie to them. Pulling one's leg actually has sinister origins, rooted in the criminal world of the 18th century. Street thieves would literally pull victims down by their leg in order to more easily rob them.
Jesus.
Pulling one's leg.
That's terrible.
So it's like you're really fucking. With
I was
people.
close, though.
They're like down in the sewers.
Yeah, you were close.
I'm going to give
Mentioning-
myself a
You
point on
brought
that
carnivals into it.
I did. Carnivals
I
are scary
enjoyed.
because they're scary. Carnivals.
Mm.
Like, nothing good happens at a carnival. I just want you guys to realize
People get
this.
sick a
Cotton
lot.
candy.
A lot of people get sick. You eat the
People
cotton
get
candy,
sick.
go on the Gravitron, you get sick.
That happened to me.
Happened to all of us.
How about can't hold a candle too? So that means like you can't
Farts.
compare or you can't like
That one's
this
gotta
doesn't compare. This doesn't hold. You know.
This one, I would say, the realistic answer is that back in the day when they were selling stuff or trading stuff, you'd bring a candle to it, and you'd be like, oh well, this one isn't authentic, so you can't hold a candle to it.
Yeah.
That would be my guess.
Good
I mean, it
answer.
has to have something to do with candle light, as in there
Good
didn't
answer.
used to be electricity, so you would need candles to illuminate the flaws in something. Sure.
Before electricity, workers needed a second set of hands to hold a candle for them. This is according to BuzzFeed. Holding a candle was clearly a less challenging job, so someone who isn't even qualified to provide light to a competent worker obviously wouldn't be able to perform the task himself.
So
it's a-
Kevin, there was a bunch of Kevins having to go around.
Oh no! Oh. Is that a ghost?
I don't
or
quite
the
get
crowd?
that
Was that
one.
a siren
No, that
or a
was
ghost?
That's the
like,
crowd. That's the
studio
Will. That's the
audience.
studio audience from
Oh,
Fresh Prince of
gotcha.
Bel Air. When he was like, "What, Uncle Carl? That ain't cool." Ooh.
Uncle Carl.
Was Uncle Phil? Excuse me. Who's Uncle Carl?
Carl is on Family
Carlton. I was
Matters.
thinking Carlton.
I like
was
this.
one of the
I
guys.
like this one.
Okay.
Okay.
Close, but no cigar.
Damn.
Oh, that's got to be from racing, right? Or from it's either racing or childbirth when you would smoke a cigar.
Oh,
'Cause your kid
right
would
when
be
she
born.
miscarries right at the end, so
You're
you
like,
don't give her the cigar. Ah, close.
So she doesn't
We were
win
close
the
to
race,
lighting this.
yeah.
It's a
I'm gonna
boy
go
cigar.
and then you're like,
Now I'm gonna go get my it's a stillbirth cigar and like that.
Oh,
one.
this is
Oh,
really
damn.
morbid. This is really morbid. What is it? What's the reality?
this
of
is
it?
this is an interesting one. Carnivals used to give out cigars as prizes, so almost winning would get you close to achieving a cigar, but
Oh,
not
okay.
quite. The phrase evolved in meaning and now refers to someone coming close to a goal but falling short.
Makes sense.
I like how now the carnivals get involved though.
Carnivals have always been involved.
Okay.
We just didn't know this. Like,
Okay, okay.
Carnies
because-
are the salt of the earth.
well, the carnival is the HBO of the Middle Ages, basically.
Got it.
Oh, that's a
Yeah,
good point.
yeah,
That's a
yeah.
really good point.
Mind your P's and Q's.
Typewriters, they made shitty P's and Q's, so you had to mind them.
There was a carnival, and the bathroom line was really long
Mm.
for to go pee.
So you got
Or
your
to go
Q.
queue.
No, you queue
Oh,
up.
the
You
queue,
queue up.
the line. Ooh.
When you pantomime for a film, you generally say P's and Q's, P's and Q's, P's and Q's, P's and Q's.
They say watermelon, watermelon,
You
watermelon.
can say that as well, but you say P's and Q's, P's and Q's because it looks like you're saying different words.
Penises and pubes.
And when directors say that, they say, "Hey, mind your P's and Q's. You're not doing it right, Gettys." And Tim goes, "I don't know what the fuck you're talking about."
Is that
Colin."
real? Is it what you said sounded really real?
You can actually say P's and Q's.
Okay,
like people
let's
do that.
let's see what the
every
real
once-
answer is.
When you're on stage and you're supposed to be like mumbling, like, "Oh my god, P's and Q's, P's and Q's." Like, if a bunch of people say it, it sounds like people are whispering back and forth to each other.
In the 17th century, pubs served beer in pints and quarts.
Damn it.
So way
If a
off.
patron was getting unruly, the bartender might warn them to mind their P's and Q's.
Wow.
Damn.
Now the term simply means to mind your manners, drunk or not. That's an interesting one. Let's do a few more.
We're 0 for 5 on these.
We're having fun though, and that's all that matters. We're playing the game.
Kevin's got a like a ski mask on right now. It's weird. A beanie. Oh, it's a beanie. I thought it was one of those you pulled down. You're about to rob us. Like, give me all your money. I was like, you have all of it. We pay you way too much.
Three sheets to the wind.
Never heard of this.
That's got to
That
have
means
something
being
to do.
drunk.
Yes.
I'm three
Three
sheets to the wind.
sheets to the
I'm three
wind.
sheets
You're
to the
three sheets
wind.
to the wind. that means
Three
you're drunk.
sheets is like at least where I come from. Like people just say 3 sheets.
Dude,
No.
you're drunk, so you climb in through your window, leave the window open, curtains blow outside of the. I mean, they don't like fly away. They just get caught
all
and blow
three
outside.
of the sheets that you have.
Hey,
in your
you got the one that blocks the sun, the one that blocks the typhoid, and just the one that's the pretty one.
One that blocks
The
the
pretty one.
typhoid.
This is an old one. This is an old one, guys. These are old sayings.
I'm gonna go with back in the day before they had dryers. You used to have to hang your sheets. People would get drunk. Their pants would fall down because they didn't have belts either. They'd have ropes that they would tie the pants with.
No ropes
They would
in this time
be
period.
halfway home and realize, shit, I don't have any pants on, but I'm so drunk I don't know where I left my pants because it's been hours because I had to walk this thing.
Right.
Oh, there's 4 sheets right there. There's there's 2 beds in the house. There's the fitted sheet, and then there's the sheet that goes on top of it. They won't notice if I take the top sheet because who the hell uses that shit anyway? In Europe, they don't even have those things. I'm gonna wrap that around myself. What do they call it? Sewing my loins. Girdle my loins with it.
Loins, yeah.
Gird my loins with it.
Soy
And
my
I'm gonna.
loins.
I was thinking soma oats. I'm gonna walk home with it after I've girded my loins.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wrong though.
Okay.
Sailors had a lot of terms for being drunk, and they all related to the ship. Being tipsy was a sheet in the wind's eye, and being hammered was a full 3 sheets to the wind. The sheets in question were actually the ropes that held down the sail, so if all 3 ropes were loose, the sails would billow around like a drunken sailor. That's where the term comes from.
Interesting. BuzzFeed knows everything.
I'm going to go to another one here, list 25, and who knows, I've never heard of this site. How about bite the bullet?
That one's kind of easy.
Let me hear it.
Okay.
So there's this guy at a
There's a
carnival.
movie called Lethal Weapon. And in that, he wants to kill himself the entire time. So constantly he's putting the gun into his mouth, trying to bite a bullet, i.e. shoot himself, but he can't do it. And then at the end of it, by halfway through, he realizes that he is not alone in life, and Murtaugh actually is his friend, and they're the best friends. And even though there's an age difference and an ethnic difference, they share a lot in common because they are the brotherhood of the law.
In some war, I don't know which one, they have to do surgery type thing on the spots. Maybe amputate, maybe take a bullet out of you.
Civil
so
War.
they take another bullet and you bite down on that, like you would a belt, which you would think or something.
Close, yeah. The meaning, of course, accepting something difficult or unpleasant is what we use it for today. The history. There was no time to administer anesthesia before emergency surgery during battle. The surgeon made patients bite down on a bullet in an attempt to distract them.
Yeah.
We got one. We got one, guys.
But like, why would that make sense? Because I would be so terrified I was going to bite the bullet and it was going to go through my brain that I'd be like, give me a...
How about how bullets work?
How about a... But like, if you're dying and someone puts a bullet in your mouth, you're not going to think maybe there's a weird way like my tooth's going to hit that.
I'm more worried about all my nerves and stuff bleeding.
I'd be like, give me a wooden, like a stick. Put that stick in my mouth. Let me bite the stick.
Let's do a few more.
Okay.
Caught red-handed.
It's something. Yeah.
If you kill somebody and then you have the blood on your
Oh,
hand.
that's a good one. It's something like that. Yeah. I bet in 1800s they used to fucking paint whiskey bottles every day red, so that if some fucking asshole came in and took it, they'd know.
In 1675.
Here we go.
If they caught you stealing something, they would paint your hands red, so that everything you touched reminded people that you were a thief. Sort of like the and then Hawthorne wrote the Scarlet Letter based on that.
Nailed it. Good answer.
That's very close. That's very close. Tim, I think, is closest, actually. Today it says to be caught doing something wrong. History. The saying originated because of law. If someone butchered an animal that didn't belong to him, he had to have been caught with the animal's blood on his hands to be convicted. Being caught with freshly cut meat did not make the person guilty. So you had to have the blood on your hands to prove that you killed the
Interesting.
animal. And again, these ones are from List 25. Mary Reyes posted this. Let's do a couple more. This is one, and I'm curious if you guys know this one.
Okay.
Because this is one that Troy and I were talking about. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater.
1752.
Yeah.
This lady, Mary Ellen, lovely lady,
Great woman. Great singing voice.
fucking stupid as all hell though.
Stunning body, though.
Bathes this baby in a bath.
Right.
Fucking throws
And that's how we lost Greg Miller.
Tragic, because it's like right before the Civil War, and they had those like washboards. Remember that?
yeah.
She's doing it right there, and she picked up the
She's
towel.
washing the baby?
No, well, that's the problem is that she thought she killed 2 birds with one stone.
Right.
Wash the towel and the baby right there.
At the end of the same time.
Fucking man, I'll tell you what.
What? What are you telling
What
me?
are you telling me?
This clearly has something to do with the fact that back in the old time there was no plumbing, so you'd have to throw the bath water out of the window, right? Or whatever you would have, you just throw out the window, like they used to throw like chamber pots and all that stuff out of the window. But
gross.
Yeah, they definitely did throw their chamber
they
pots.
did.
gross.
That's why that's where the plague came
And
from.
babies
There
are
was open
stupid, so
sewage
they're always
everywhere.
like crawling into shit.
Got it.
Literally.
So today it means hang on to valuable things when getting rid of unnecessary things. But the history says during the 1500s, most people bathed once a year. Even when they did bathe, the entire family used the same tub full of water. The man of the house bathed first, followed by the other males, then the females, and finally the babies. You can imagine how thick and cloudy the water became by that time, so the infant's mother had to take care not to throw it out with the bathwater when they emptied the tub. That's literally right.
Wow.
Stupid.
That's crazy. That's disgusting.
All right, let's do one or
One
two
more.
more.
Okay.
I like. What was the two birds with one stone? I want to know what the etymology
Kill two
is on
birds
that
with one
one.
stone?
Yeah.
That's just a good rule of thumb. There's two birds there, and you only have one stone. Try to kill both of them with
Nailed
it.
it.
You're right. Yeah.
Smart.
That's where it came from.
Smart. Someone's like this. Hey, there's two birds right there, and we only have one stone.
Well,
Let's try to kill both of them.
I played a
go.
video game recently where I lined up a sniper shot and got 2 guys with 1 bullet. I was
Probably
like,
got a trophy for that.
yes. I didn't. I was very upset.
Go the whole 9 yards.
Oh,
It's a football thing because
It is not a football
It's a
thing.
clothing
as you know in
thing.
football, if you run the 9 yards, you get the extra 3 points.
Yeah.
So
how football
there was
works.
once back in 1938, the Super Bowl. It was happening, and Tom Brady,
Vince Lombardi.
Vince Lombardi was facing off against Tom Brady.
Yep.
And he was just like, you would have got it if you went the whole 9 yards, but he only went 8, as we all know. Classic history.
Yeah.
Just like Tim Couch, Nebraska,
yeah,
Mizzou. Never
that's it.
forget it.
Never forget. Never forget. The ball went underneath his legs.
Ombrowski.
Crazy. No, this is clothing, right? Isn't this something to do with I want to say Scottish Highlanders, but it's not. Where they had 9 yards of wrap that they would be able to wrap themselves in.
No, what you're thinking about is dressed to the nines.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Okay.
This is so to go the whole 9 yards. It means today to try one's best. History: World War II fighter pilots received a 9-yard chain of ammunition. Therefore, when a pilot used all of his ammunition on one target, he gave it the whole 9 yards.
Nice. That's awesome.
That's
That's
awesome.
Now-
fucking cool.
Now, there's 2 more just because I like these.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that these are on the list. This one's morbid as hell, and I knew this one because it deals with one of my own fears. Saved by the Bell.
Wow. I thought it was a fighting term.
That was a 90s show.
No, that was the best 90s show, first of all. Way better than that Boy Meets World show. You guys are all fucking all up about it. I watched an episode of that the other day. I was like, this show is
This one I
actually
feel like I
pretty
know.
good.
Do you want me to go if I think I actually really
Yeah,
know
go
it?
for it.
Is this the one where, in the olden days, medical technology and such wasn't a thing? So it was like some dude had to declare you dead. So they'd bury you, but they'd leave like a string to a bell, right? And like for like 2 days or something, they'd check it. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it.
Yep. So it says rescued from an unwanted situation today. History: As scary as it sounds, being buried alive was once a common occurrence. People who feared succumbing to such a fate were buried in special coffins that connected to a bell above ground. At night, guards listened for any bells in case they had to dig up a living person and save them by the bell.
Good Lord.
That's morbid.
And the last one
Zach
is,
Morris.
and I like this one a lot, waking up on the wrong side of the bed, which is the one I also know. So
This one's super easy. My wife always takes the left side of the bed. If I go over there, even when she's not there, she'll call me and be like, "You're on my side of
She'll
the bed."
call your phone
She'll call the phone and be like, "I
Okay.
know you're on my side of the bed."
to get you to roll
You
back
need
to your side
you
of the
need
bed.
to
to
roll
get
the
your
hell
phone.
over because I don't want to be touched. We got a king size bed so that we could sleep. Okay, you want to cuddle? There's a specific time for that. The other stuff, specific time for that too. Once a week on Saturdays, and the rest of the time, stay the hell away from my side of the bed because if you're there, you're on the wrong side of the bed.
close.
Okay.
Waking up today
What if
means
you read the description? It's like Nick Scarpino's wife. Yeah.
waking up in a bad mood is what it means today.
Right.
History: The left side of the body or anything having to do with the left was often associated with sinister. And for people that don't know, the Latin word sinister means left-handed.
Really?
Yeah, that's something I know because I just looked that up for one reason or
Because
just
lefties
left.
are freaky. Eric
Well,
Cart's a lefty.
you remember until
trust
50
him.
or so years ago, you weren't a left-handed person. They would make you a right-handed person. Like they would make you write with your right hand and stuff like that. Like no one wrote with
Yeah,
that.
they may actually. I think the Catholics, the
Yeah,
nuns
Catholics.
at my when my uncle Paul was going through school, he's left-handed. They for like the first 10 years he had to write with his right hand because they were like, no, you have to write with your right hand. He's like, but I'm clearly I can do it with this one. Like no, so
Yeah.
he's like ambidextrous.
Because it means sinister in Latin. To ward off evil, innkeepers made sure the left side of the bed was pushed against the wall, so guests had no other option but to get up on the right side of the bed. And that is what
Fucking weirdos.
That's
waking up on the wrong side of the bed means. I thought that was interesting and fun because I love how some of these things have transcended literally hundreds of years and we
Yeah.
still use them and have lost total sight
And
of
no
what
idea
they
what they
actually
mean.
mean.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, it's true.
So I thought that would be a fun
those
little-
attitudes
That was a good one.
crazy.
I like
That's
that
good.
one. That was a fun one. My turn. My topic comes from patreon.com/kindafunny, and it's from Shahar. Now, before we get there, I want to let you know, Nick, I have bad news.
Yeah.
This isn't about the topic at all.
Okay.
But something I've long feared has happened today, and that's that I have broken the chair I'm sitting in.
No.
If you've noticed, I am listing to the side. The legs are cattywampus.
What?
Okay, well, we have another chair.
No. We're gonna finish the show.
Cattywampus. Can we not forget? Greg just said that.
Do you remember? Do you know the origins of cattywampus?
Definitely not.
There was once a hippopotamus.
You're just
the
loose.
size of a cat.
You'll be all right.
No, I know. I'm just letting you know.
Wait, really?
No,
It's a
not
cat
at all.
bottom.
That's
God
totally
damn
made
it,
up.
Greg! I was so excited.
Shahar writes in with a topic: what celebrity would you like to spend the zombie apocalypse with, and why? Of course, he gets this topic submitted because he went to patreon.com, backed us there. Patreon.com. Kind of funny.
Well, 100% easy for me.
I think mine's super easy too. So let's on the count. You count it to 3, and then we'll both say ours at the same time.
It's
Right?
going to be completely different.
On
So
3 or
yeah,
after 3?
1,
all say
2, 3, and then me and Nick go.
Let's all say it. Everyone's answer.
Well, then fine. Kevin, count us in.
1, 2, 3.
Allison
Joe
Ted
Rogan.
Nugent.
See, mine's similar to yours.
What was yours?
Yours was Ted Nugent.
What'd
right?
you
Mine's
say?
Joe Rogan.
Does he
Because
have a
they're
lot of
very
guns
much
and
similar.
shit?
He's got a lot of guns. He knows how to hunt. He knows how to exist out in the wilderness. He's
Yeah.
got and he understands he understands basically he would be the guy that if we needed to go live out in the woods for a while, I would trust him above all other people to go do that.
Yeah. Well, what about Ted
100%.
Nugent? You don't
No,
trust?
Ted,
you don't,
I don't automatically think Ted Nugent because I'm not a screwball like you are, but he would be like
in
that
this
too.
situation, I need a screwball like Ted Nugent.
Oh, yeah.
Crossbows, guns,
Yeah.
hunting,
Crossbows especially
living
because
out in the woods.
that's the thing with Joe was he talks a lot about when he goes hunting they use bow and arrow.
Right.
No, they're not like man-made bow and arrow. Like they're not taking down.
No,
their
he's got
own-
like the compound bow.
Yeah, he's got a compound bow that's probably costs like a few $1,000s, but that would be
Kev. Guess
being
something in
able
1
to
minute.
reuse the arrows and things like that. I think would be
Also, make sure
incredibly
in that
important.
edit you don't see my phone.
That'd be true.
Make your little note. Write your little fucking note. I pay for that pen. You use it. No, that's the thing with Ted Nugent is that he would be out there. He's ready to live on the land. You know Ted Nugent, right?
I do not.
Cat scratch fever.
Cat scratch fever. I was gonna say the one thing is every once in a while I'll take out his guitar and just be like, ding, ding, ding,
Yeah,
ding,
Ted, you know it. And he's like,
ding,
oh, I'm just calling
ding,
over some
ding,
zombies,
ding,
man,
ding.
and then he'd fucking kill them all.
He's a
right.
famous rock musician.
Okay.
Survivalist?
That is like a survivalist.
Big time.
Yeah, he has like a compound, right?
When
Doesn't he
I
have a
met-
compound? He like lives off of his own land and all
Right.
that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When I met Ted Nugent, it was when I
Did
was.
you really?
Yeah, oh yeah. When I was back in Missouri, he came through to tour some ammunition, like gun, whatever store, I forget, whatever. It was a huge one in Columbia.
Big NRA guy, right?
Big NRA guy. So I got to go meet
Nestor.
him and stuff and interview him along with some other reporters, and we were like in a little thing, and he pointed me out. He's like, blah, 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 what do you think, kid? And I was like, yeah, because I was like the youngest guy there. But it was like he's crazy. Like in the best way.
Yeah.
Like, like he's not, like
Yeah,
he
I don't
looks-
think-
I don't think we're
I don't
crazy.
think any of his screws are loose at all.
No,
I
I
just
think
think
he's
he's
excited.
totally.
But I mean,
yeah.
like, just the way you know what I mean, with like guns and ammo and everything else. I don't mean like legit crazy. I think he's got obviously a good head on his shoulders.
He's just at that place where he's been so successful that he can live. He doesn't necessarily need to ascribe to the severe societal norms. Right? He can go buy a ranch and have animals there,
Exactly,
and hunt and shoot whenever he wants and do all those things and live basically however the hell he wants as long as he's not breaking any major laws because he's got that much money. Same with Joe, where Joe's been so successful where the one thing I'd say he'd have a leg up on is that he's very multifaceted, right? Where he knows how to hunt, but he also knows a shitload about MMA. So he could train all of us so that, as we all know, in the zombie apocalypse, the zombies aren't the dangerous people.
It's the other people.
It's the other people. And so that's what we have to really... The zombies are easy. You just kind of walk away from them as long as you know how to survive and can hunt on your own. You're probably going to be okay. It's when we run into...
Man versus man.
To a year into it, where everyone that's left are some raw dog motherfuckers like we're going to be.
Right.
And like... We know that it's them or us. Joe would be the kind of guy that would train us how to like ambush people and go rear naked, choke the shit out of them,
Yes.
or do whatever we need to do. And maybe we don't even have to kill them. We just choke them to their sleep and we steal all their gack and let the zombies.
All
kill
their
'em.
gack?
All their gack. Yeah.
The Nickelodeon guy.
I was gonna say they got a lot of gack. Still, I love gack.
love
Make the
gack.
fart noises
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah.
You said
Also, he's a
Allison Brie.
comedian,
Yeah.
so
She's
Now-
been on the brain lately
she's just so hot.
because she's so.
You'd last 3 days with her, but they would be a glorious 3 days.
Yeah,
That'd
that's
be good.
so I'm
That'd be
taking a
real
different
good.
tact here, right?
Yeah.
You're not trying to survive. You're trying to maximize your fun time.
A zombie, if the zombie apocalypse is going to happen, my only real authentic hope is to get back to Long Island because my dad's
That's a
there,
long
You're not
trek,
gonna make it.
brother.
and Long Island will be fine. I was talking to my brother about this. Like, Long Island is so isolated because we could just destroy all the bridges into New York City, and there's no way to get there except
What'd
for
you
ferries.
eat,
So
though?
like,
you'd have to eat.
yeah, well,
Clams.
we have farms, lots of farms and lots of seafood. So I'd have to eat seafood, which is unfortunate. But we have corn and potatoes for days,
good for you,
man.
though.
And greens, we got all sorts of lettuce.
Do you have high fructose corn syrup?
No, y'all got high fructose corn syrup. I don't think we can produce that there. But
Yeah,
we have
shame.
Long Island corn is something special, I'll tell you. But I'm taking a different tact where it's like, well, I'm not going to be able to get back to the island to be with my dad because that would be the safest place for me to be, probably. So I'm just going to enjoy my time with this gorgeous woman. And all I want, I just want to, let's just spend time together. We can read.
Right.
We could, but at least I'll be in the
You're not
presence
trying
of
to make this dirty like
Oh
a Tim
no,
probably
no,
would.
not necessarily.
There's
No,
a-
definitely
there's a
exist.
slight hope that it's
she
going to be
wants
dirty.
to make it dirty. But that's
It's
going to
on
be up to
her.
her. That's
It's
gonna
on
be up to
her.
her.
I think Allison Brie would want to make it dirty with you, Colin.
Oh my god, that'd be so
I
fantastic.
honestly do.
That'd be
just wanna let
fantastic.
you know
Thank you, I
that.
appreciate that. Because she's so incredible that it's like, well,
She's
I'm gonna
really funny. I like her a lot.
I'm gonna die.
Mm-hmm.
I might as well be around this beautiful. We could just sit there and read books, but at least I'm gonna be around this gorgeous woman. And this is a better way to go than trying to survive when I'm not going to survive.
the
I'm
fact-
3,000 miles away from where I need to be. There's no way I'm going to get there. So I could just be around
Everything's
Allison
burning, Walking Dead outside, screams, gunshots. You're fucking reading. You're in your room. Just like,
How
don't
long?
get here when they
It's
get
like
here.
Twilight Zone.
How long do you think it would take us until we had Thunderdome? Because I would want like a week. I would just be like, oh, let's get to Thunderdome.
You got to go start. It's probably going to be in Nebraska somewhere, or
You think so?
Kansas. And there's going to be some sort of, society of 50,000 people in there. Survivors that have somehow eradicated the zombie threat around them. And
Yeah, that's my thing about Walking Dead. Was that like, there's not one society out there that we're like 10,000 people strong, you know? I guess it just didn't happen.
No, I mean that's the whole thing is that.
I'm asking Greg. He's checking his phone.
Yeah,
for
Greg's
that.
too busy. On
I'm
his phone.
trying to get Trevor in the fucking house, everybody. Jesus.
Kevin's on it. He's fine.
No,
I'll
he's
figure it
not,
out.
clearly. I'm getting text messages that Kevin is not. Kevin has wandered outside, has probably been hit by a
He's
car.
probably rummaging through the fridge.
He's like, hey, is
again.
that a dead body over there? And they just walked off.
He was so excited about talking the zombie apocalypse that he just had to get out of here. So yeah, I mean that's my different because
Smorgasbord
typically we
for
talk about
him.
how do we survive, and that's what everyone talks about. But it's just like, you know what? Maybe I just have to accept that I'm not going to survive, and I'm going to be in the presence of a beautiful woman.
arms.
And if you have any doubt of how beautiful
don't do
Allison
that.
Brie is, watch that new Smirnoff commercial when she's getting into and out of the limo. Holy God Almighty!
Oh no,
Holy God
She's a beautiful woman.
Almighty!
She might
I love
be
her.
perfection because she is. First of all, let's take a step back. Let's take a step back, everyone.
Be careful.
She's beautiful.
Oh
Absolutely
my God!
beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely.
But not only that, I've met the woman. She came to. She was on our set for Comic-Con 2 years ago because of Community. Yeah, it was Community.
Probably. Yeah.
And she's really nice, and she's really funny, and a really good actress too. Because you watch her in Mad Men, and she's a completely different person than you see her in anything else she's ever done. So she might be perfect.
Yeah,
So
I think I just have such a huge
I'm a
crush on
little
her.
jealous of that, so now I might have to take Joe Rogan and come and take her away from you. To be perfectly honest, that's probably
like
what's
this.
happening.
Yeah, see, my answer is Daniel Radcliffe because I feel like it'd be fun, and he might.
He
be
doesn't
magic.
actually do magic.
Well, that's the thing. You don't know that.
Yeah, I know
You
it.
definitely don't
He
know
makes
that.
magical
Nick.
movies.
Yeah,
He does make magical
And I don't
movies.
even mean the Harry Potter one. I like that new. You seen that? What If? Is that
the one
what
with
it
the
is?
dick. You got a good dick.
No, I didn't.
I heard
that's
he
a
has a
play.
good dick.
That's
The
a play.
indie?
Daniel Radcliffe.
Yeah, it was cute.
You got
it's
a
real
good
good.
It was
dick.
a really good movie, actually. He's a
But,
good actor. He's very charismatic.
I do like him as an actor.
But he's a good dude,
I didn't see
and
Horns.
you
I didn't see
know,
Horns. It's on Netflix.
everything he says is awesome, and like I enjoy listening.
Because
to
you're
him
just like,
speak.
oh, it's me, Daniel Radcliffe, Tim.
It's something
Go
like
me
that.
more spam,
You
do
can just
ya?
call in the owls because that's a thing that people do.
I
What
don't
about
think
Trevor?
they call. Hey, Trevor. I don't think they called in the owls. I think
Yeah, but
the
that's
owls
they didn't
were
sh-
the.
it was off screen, Nick. But like,
At no point in any of the Harry
obviously-
Potter books did they ever allude to the fact that owls, like Batman, did they like throw a thing down and all the owls came and like attacked.
Well, it's because they
yeah,
just
but
they
that's
can talk
that's
to
because
each
they
other.
didn't have to
think
deal with
to
the
them, they
zombie
talk to 'em.
apocalypse yet. It's gonna happen.
True. That's very true.
Yeah,
We should write
My boy,
some fanfic.
D-Rad.
We should write fanfic about this.
Yeah.
About how we all got our celebrity
Where
friends.
it's just
to
Joe
hang out with
Rogan,
us.
Allison Brie, Harry Potter, and what the Nugget Man or whatever it was.
And the Nugget Man.
Out of
Ted
everyone we
Nugent.
listed, Ted Nugent is the most likely to watch this video. And you just call him the Nugget Man. He's the Nuge, goddammit. The Nuge.
Okay.
The Nugget
The
Man.
Nugget Man. You sicken me. Your lack of classic rock knowledge. Bertillon, I can't stand to look at you anymore. Ladies and gentlemen, that's another episode of the Game Over Greggy Show. Each and every week, 4, sometimes 5 best friends gather on this table. Each bring a random topic of discussion for your amusement. If you like that, please throw us a few bucks over at patreon.com/kindafunny and get the show early each and every Friday. If you don't like that, don't worry. We post a show topic by topic, day by day over on youtube.com/kindafunny before putting the entire thing up on podcast services and that there YouTube. Thank you for your support with Kinda Funny Live. Thank you for supporting Tim as he continues to struggle in his life of what shirt will I wear today. He never knows.
Will it be the V-neck or
This
the
today
V-neck?
was the 2015 Express blue V-neck. So thank you. Shout out to Express. Please sponsor me.
Okay. Everybody download the app. It'll be on Android soon, maybe by the time this posts. Everybody go to the forums. Sign up for the forums. Trevor, I'm letting go of Bertilla. Don't pet him. Until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.